My father ruined my future. He left me with $73,000 worth of debt.
Those are rookie numbers. You're going to have to pump those up. Talk to me when it gets to $730,000 of debt, all right?
Yeah.
That's quitter talk.
This is kind of investing in
Yeah, he's investing in making you a hard worker.
America. I, 21, graduated from university with my undergrad in 2024. At the time of graduating, I thought I had around $10K of federal student loans. Recently, my mom left my emotionally abusive father, leaving just her, me, and my siblings by ourselves. By the way, this comes from Baby Flower 2003, and if you want to submit your own stories, please go to r/OKStorytime on Reddit. I was happy at this decision until I found out that the $10K of debt I thought I was in actually was far more than that. I knew that throughout my first year of university, he had taken out some private student loans for me. I was told by my father that since I was only 18 at the time, the bank we loaned from wouldn't allow me to pull out loans since I didn't have good credit. He told me that he would be able to take out these student loans under my mother's name and that he paid them off as soon as I'm done with school. I found out recently that the loans were in fact under my name with my mom just as a co-signer. Also that the loans were far more than needed to pay for my tuition. She did not know this either, by the way. He had taken out a total of $48,000 in private student loans under my name. I remember signing for these. Oh, he did not forge my signature.
Ooh.
When I asked exactly what I was signing for or more details about everything, he told me, "Stop asking questions and just trust me." Every time I tried to push for answers, I got that response. I trusted him. I trusted that he would not screw me over. I had trusted him to help build my credit when I turned 18. I found out that he completely messed up my credit too. My TransUnion score is 669 and my Equifax score is 577.
Oof. The sub 6? That's no bueno.
He used my tuition money for rent and bills. I do not know what he used the money he got from all my credit cards for. Throughout the past few years, he had convinced us that he was making a lot of money from his job. I now realize that he was likely lying about that and just secretly screwing me over and over. And my mom too, since she also messed up her credit. I have 3 closed credit cards that are in debt, I think. One is $6,055 balance, $2,250 credit limit with $6,550 due. The second one is $12,864 reported balance with a $1,000 credit limit with 0 due.
Crazy.
Does this second one mean that I don't have to pay off the balance?
No.
The third one is $6,228 balance, $6,000 credit limit with $714 due. From what I have looked up, it seems that I owe a little over $35K in credit card debt. Yeah, the $12,000 one mean that he has probably signed up for that within the year and they have 0 interest on it.
I would say you don't owe $35,000 in credit card debt. You need to sue the hell out of your parents.
Oh,
or your
absolutely.
Father, out of your dad. My God.
Dude, this happened to my grunkle.
Your great uncle?
Yeah. Yeah, his kid stole $80K from
him. His kids or he stole?
One of his kids stole $80K.
I feel like that's the more normal thing.
Yeah.
Is the
kids, not
the little
dads.
the butthole kids are stealing.
I also know that he messed up my siblings' credit too. Not sure how much. I haven't had the chance to look into that. Also, I think it's important to note that he currently owes 3 different family members over $200,000. I found out this week too.
Yeah, so this guy, I don't know what he's got going on. I don't know if maybe he's a gambler, maybe he's got. I think it might be pretty. Might be a little clearer if he had like a substance problem, but like.
Yeah.
You need to figure out where all this money's going, and you need to immediately get his accounts like shut down. You need to contact the police. You need to sue him. You need to do something. Contact your credit, whatever your bank is.
Yeah.
Contact them and let them know you're a victim of fraud. Explain the situation. This is Not good.
Flash forward to now. I found out about these loans a few days ago. I now have a total of $58,000 in student loan debt in addition to my credit card debt, which is around $38K. My first student loan payment is due in less than 3 weeks. I need advice. I don't want to take legal action against him. I don't want him to end up in jail. He is currently helping us by paying for our rent and car, even though my mom has left him. My mom currently doesn't have a job, though she is looking. And my job doesn't make nearly enough to provide for ourselves without his help. In August, I will start a higher paying job and possibly pick up a second job to pay off my debt. So I could ask him then to just send me money every month instead of paying for rent and the car. I could use that money to help pay off the debt. As of now, I am not worried about my federal student loans. The minimum payment is doable, and I will receive around $14K of tuition reimbursement in March through April, so that will help. Should I consolidate the private loans? Should I refinance? I've briefly considered filing what?
No, this is your father's.
Yeah, we're
You are a victim of a crime.
I've briefly considered filing for bankruptcy since I have no assets, but I know that's probably a bad idea. Is there any way for me not to have to deal with this debt without landing him in a lot of trouble? Dakota says, hell no.
I mean, there is maybe a universe where you can talk to him and be like, look, you need to set the stage. I don't know. If you're gonna approach this by being like, well, I need a solution that doesn't get my dad in trouble, all he's gonna do is continue to exploit you. He's gonna ruin your life financially. So don't take any responsibility for this debt, because if you do, then the banks will say, oh, well, you were already paying it. So, they can argue that, well, you're responsible for it now. So don't touch a single thing in terms of the debt that he's put on you that you had nothing to do with.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a major difference between like maybe 2K, 3K, compared to 73K.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
A little too that's insane to me. Like I get it, 5K may be pushing it, but this is crazy.
This is ridiculous. Relevant comments. Did OP know what they signed? OP said it was an electronic signature for the loan where you use the mouse to draw out your signature. He called me over to sign it on his laptop. At the time, I still thought that the money would be under my mother's name, and I also did not know how much money it would be. Commenter 1, I don't want to take legal action against him. Okay, then you're going to have to pay the loans or declare bankruptcy. Commenter 2, I don't want to take legal action up against him. I don't want him to end up in jail. You need to get past this because he doesn't care what he does to you, and he isn't only hurting you. He's hurting and taking advantage of a lot of people and is actively ruining your futures to benefit himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's gonna stop him from doing it again?
Yeah, and on the part of he's currently helping pay for our rent and car, he isn't helping you. He's providing just enough to hope you don't take action against him. And the money is money he owes you, not that he is using it to support you out of care for family and your family. He is not helping. He's using money he took from you and others to pay for that. You are paying for that help in the form of increasing debt, not him. And if he doesn't face serious repercussions for his actions, he's going to keep doing it, and you will never get out of the increasing debt he'll continue to saddle you in and everyone else in. And they just go on a big old rant about what you need to do.
He doesn't deserve it, but I think you can give him, if you're going to do anything, give him one single chance. You say, you need to, we're either in agreement that we transfer all of this debt into your name, or the police get involved and you probably go to jail.
Yeah.
So that's your choice.
Update. After reading all of these responses and talking with some close friends of mine, I see that the best thing to do is file against him. I brought up the topic to my mother last night, and she, being very religious, said, no, don't do that. God wouldn't want you to harm another person like this, let alone your father. Ooh, I have a lot to say about that one.
Go ahead. Hey, I'll let you take off on that one, buddy.
There's this thing called keeping others accountable, and I'm just going to take a wild shot that the dad is also religious. As Christians, you're supposed to hold one another accountable, so even if they do something wrong in the eyes of God and man, they got to go to jail. So, girl, what are you talking about?
Doesn't God maybe not want fathers to exploit their children for
Oh, yeah.
financial gain?
Oh, yeah.
Anything to say about that?
That was actually going to be his 11th commandment, but they didn't have room.
Ran out of space.
Ran out of space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Classic.
heard.
That's why he had two of them. He
Yep.
had the 5 on the front, and he's like, that's not enough.
Yeah,
He hadn't figured out front side, back side yet, right?
that's true. She said that she'd rather take on the private student loan debt by refinancing and transferring it to her, but honestly, that wouldn't remove the credit card debt and it'd leave her with the debt instead. I don't think it's a good choice. I think that if I file against my dad, my mother will kick me out. So if I file, I will already be prepared to move out. That being said, I currently only have $2,000 saved up from work, and that will not be enough to move out on my own. I need more money to get a car, place, and overall survive. I just moved to the city a little less than a year ago, so I don't have many people to rely on here. My boyfriend offered to let me live at his family's house, but I still needed to be able to travel to and from work, and I don't want to overstay my welcome. Yeah. I also don't have the option to move because I have to work in the state of Florida to qualify for my university's tuition reimbursement. In March, I'll have over $14,000 of tuition reimbursement coming in. My best bet would be to wait till March and then leave. It breaks my heart to do this because I could be disowned by every person in my family, but I can't let myself live with this debt. Prior to this, I thought I only had $10,000 worth of debt, and with that, I could have easily lived a good life and paid it off quickly. If someone like does this to you and you tell your family members, how in the world are they going to cut you off?
Maybe they're just a whole gaggle of financial criminals
Yeah.
exploiting their children.
Like what I
They're
saw.
like, you're just supposed to grow up and have your own kids and ruin their credit score.
That's what it's
It's a
meant to be.
long, storied family tradition.
Like, wouldn't that be nice to be like, hey, by the way, I'm getting exploited by my dad. Maybe you should check and see if you are too.
I mean, yeah. It sounds like there's probably other family members he's been owing money anyway.
Yeah.
I doubt you'd be disowned by your whole family. And low key, if your whole family disowns you because of your being exploited financially, good riddance.
I'm still not 100% set on this decision, but I do realize that this is the only logical thing to do. I want to speak with my sibling to see how much debt my father has put them in and to see if they'd want to file too. I also want to speak with a lawyer or someone more knowledgeable than me about this. Does anyone have any advice based on this update? And we can give you some advice. Join us on our freaking podcast platforms. We have more stories just like this. Just search up OK Storytime on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts. But back on this, I hate that they have to wait to file before they can leave. Like, can you do that? Because like sometimes like doesn't that like, I don't know, like you found out in December that your father's cheating on you. Can you wait till March to actually file it? Does that make sense?
I don't know what like the statute is
Yeah.
on those kind of crimes, but I mean, I wouldn't wait. I think it's hard though to like, tell someone they shouldn't wait and they should do something immediately. It's like you
Yeah.
can't always make a move. You got to have things lined up. You got to know where you're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Also still very young, and it's like
Yeah.
I would try to maybe get some friends lined up, couch surf a little bit. You need to immediately establish though, because it's like at 18, I think most people just don't understand how devastating this kind of financial record can be.
And speaking about the friends part, I'd probably talk to the boyfriend's family and be like, hey, I'm in big trouble. Gotta just stay here for a little bit.
Yeah. Lean on your support.
But get out of there. File. Update 2. In response to the comments I've gotten. Oh, my mom's religious comments are obviously ridiculous, but I'm most looking for help on how to file or what to expect. I have records showing $23,000 of refunds went to a bank account he controlled. I didn't see a dime of that money, and I think he used it for a vacation. Not gonna lie, we have some more relevant comments. Is it possible for OP to find a new place or rent near their job? OP, I'm a substitute teacher. I work at a different school around the county, so it wouldn't be possible for me to get a job near work, unfortunately. How did OP's father get involved in OP signing the documents with their mother? All I did have is had to sign. He filled out everything. Now I understand looking back that I was stupid for signing without asking. But you did ask, but he wouldn't tell you the truth. But after further looking into things, I see the amount of money I was refunded by my school was an insane amount and not an amount I could have spent by myself in one semester, aka 12K extra refund in a semester where my tuition was only 2K. He must have used that money himself on non-educational related things. Also, the credit cards I did not sign for. I didn't even know that you signed for credit cards. He did that all himself.
Again, you're just finding more. Stack up your evidence, man. Just continue to gather evidence because it's just a scum. Sorry that your dad's a scumbag, dude. That sucks.
Comment number 1. It sounds to me like both your mom and dad are in this together. Ooh, and that if you don't file against them, they will come out ahead and you will come out behind. Commenter 2, God didn't want your mom to leave your dad either, but she did. So she doesn't have a leg to stand on when is preaching to you. Report him to anyone you can. Also, if you were under 18 years old, you can't be held responsible for any contracts. And that is it.
My mother has been taking my disability checks for a long time. I finally secured my independence.
Oh, you got it. Once you secure that independence, don't let it go.
Your mama is a sack of dookie. So, for context, hi, I'm Kruger. Or, as of late, Delta Kruger. Need to get that fixed. I am the 27 year-old lad of this story. I am considered a high-functioning autistic individual, officially disabled by government standards. By the way, this comes from Kerr Grimpaw, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to OK Storytime subreddit. So my mother for a long time, but especially these past few years, has been taking in and managing my checks from the government to keep the household afloat. That is important context. Making use of everything, but hundreds of dollars of it, which often got absorbed in moments of crisis, as well as me not spending it much. While I was doing so, sowing seeds of doubt and fear into my mind about ever learning how to live on my own, stating I was very far from ever reaching that. I myself didn't really try to struggle or push my way out. Even when I turned 18, she offered to sign me up as a dependent, but I thankfully declined. I decided for the good of the family to keep working with them. That changed about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, my developmentally held back brain decided to say, oh, now it's time to teenager. I suddenly craved independence, looking every which way for a way to flee gracefully. Every time, though, there was some unfortunate situation or action that meant that if I left with my two incomes, my mother became my primary social worker or primary support worker, which has its own irony later on. The family would fall apart and I'd be dooming all of the animals, some of which were never listed on our lease at the time and were hidden every inspection. Now, what happens when you cage a teenager that so desperately wants to do their own thing? Well, they get rebellious, according to OP. 3 years ago, I got a therapist through my state insurance program, and after venting all of the hoops my mom was making me jump through and all of the work that was piled onto me due to my mother's bum knee and the stupid high expectations of me that would always end up creating screaming matches to her over these past 3 years, she finally said to me, as of roughly a week ago from this post, that literally sounds like an abuse case.
I mean, definitely. Sounds like it could be financial abuse or
Yeah.
even like an emotion. Like, I don't know. It feels like maybe this person, has autism or ADHD, like they said at the beginning, and it's like they might be being looked at as like, well, you don't need this money. It's like we're gonna take care of you anyway. It's like we're gonna use your money for the people who need it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, okay, wait, you're just gonna take away my agency as a human being?
OP is clearly saying like, hey, I want this independence, and it is OP's money. It seems that OP is, in my opinion, doing mom the massive favor and everyone else the massive favor, because also mom admitted your checks are like keeping us and the animals and everything else afloat. I initially dismissed that and said, I'll keep it in my mind on the comment of it's maybe abuse. As we ended that call that day, only to then immediately after get chewed out for jumping on a request my mom made earlier in the day. She had requested research for something that made another lengthy story, but regardless, she basically chewed me out for hounding her in an ill mental state due to her current situation, despite telling me 5 minutes prior to do the research for her. That's when I went back to my room and texted my therapist and started filling out the paperwork. So one day later, Mom and I get into another spat, this time about the dishes, which were my daily chore. Sure, it was assigned to me, but my drive to do craft for her was gone at that point when my effort could be pushed down on a whim, even though it was ordered. Argument is hazy in my head for many a reason, but the main one is Mom went feral the moment I snarked like a teen would. She slammed her way into my room to start grabbing crap and hucking it on the lawn, screaming at me to get out, breaking one of my monitors in the process.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this escalated quickly. Dad stepped in and told her that since I was over 18 and on the lease, that I was legally given 30 days notice, which is when she stopped, turned to me and says, well, then I'm going to make those next 30 days torture for you.
Don't know if it's legal for your, technically what, are they both on the lease or is she like the landlord? Like what?
So she was trying to kick him out, but it's like, no. We literally legally have to give him 30 days.
Right, so he's a tenant and then she's the landlord. So then it's like, I believe it's extremely illegal for the landlord to go, oh, well, I'm going to torture you for 30 days. Pretty sure you can't do that.
Take Mom to court?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, we take Mom to court?
If she's taking my money, she can use that to pay for the fees.
Dad let me get the few things that she did get back on the lawn, back inside at that point, and I sat down in my chair. Then it dawned on me. She played herself. For years, she said that if I went away, she would have to get rid of everything. And I mean everything. It was all propped up by my Social Security income. I believe that's what that is. And the income that she got being my personal social worker. So now those were the two. It was she's like his like personal social worker and his Social Security. So those two, OP leaves.
It does seem like a weird ploy to be like, I'm kicking out the thing giving me all of my money. It's you, OP.
But now I feel like we're just dealing with, I think we're seeing more and more how just straight up cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs the mom is. Like, she will get so emotionally distraught, dysregulated, she'll kick out the only like income keeping her afloat. Now she's given me and the government valid reason with her behavior alone that even if she rescinded the 30-day notice, that we couldn't keep our home anyway. It was refreshing. In that moment, I felt like I felt the courage well up in my chest. She couldn't manipulate me anymore. She fell into what she had made of her life and was blind to my connections that I made for years outside of the family, constantly slamming them for being liberals. Oh,
getting slammed. Get dunked on, liberals.
I took that renewed energy to reach out to those friends, those found families, my lovers, and even my grandparents. I looked through my cards and emails and found my disability care workers info and told them of the situation and burnt the midnight oil chasing my new life while my mom literally pounded the adjacent wall between my bedroom and her bathroom, screaming like a banshee about not hearing me back fast enough. God.
What is that? If you're packing so vigorously you can be heard in the next room, I think you just need to calm down, honestly. I don't think that's a good indicator on if you're
folded.
Yeah.
Stop it.
You're like, John, are you okay? It sounds like the wind is blowing in there. I don't know.
So to keep from going on for ages, I'm going to be brief on the next few stages to now. Grandparents saw the explosion brewing for years, opened arms, and let me take my belongings and my bearded dragon, Pancake, in while my mother was on psychiatric care. Wow. Sounds needed. With my caseworker's help, I got my Social Security disability income under control. I got guidance on what steps to take next, and they're doing research for intermediary places after grandparents. Me and my boyfriend are looking into joining together and living somewhere in Washington with my found family chipping in as well.
There we go. I love the found family.
Dude, also OP, I love how OP's mom was like, you couldn't live on your own, blah, blah, blah. And here OP is like literally just like crushing it.
Yeah,
Just
straight up.
Crushing it. Wow. As of today, I'm officially disowned from my own family. Yes, let's go. My mother has not only disowned my grandparents, but also forced dad to as well. I tried to contact them to drop me off, to drop off the phone plan so I could keep my number, and all I got was a statement of disownment, and that further contact will lead to a restraining.
Dang, man, I'm sorry that your family like low-key hated you forever.
That's crazy. So I got special state related order to have their firearms reclaimed since my mother is a psychopath. Court ordered. And have my grandparents locking their doors now out of fear. Oh, I'm waiting for my case manager to get back to me to have my documents extracted from their residence. And basically, all I got to do is play the waiting game. Watch my parents burn because my mom pushed all their connections away. Even my brother, who is stoic as heck, showed he was ready to fly too. So the main thing to take away from this, learn to value yourself. And judge the words of those closest to you, for you never know if you're just a pay pig to your own mother. If people want, I can refine those breezed over parts, but this is enough to get the picture. P.S. As I was printing the paperwork to file for the firearm removal, I realized I still had access to the printer back home. It took all of my willpower not to print an FU message to it. And instead, I just disconnected my PC from the web accessible printer. Smart move. Despite blaming me for everything falling apart, she was the one who got me out, and I was taught to not have the last word. By the way, you can always have the last word because there's full episodes of stories just like this, and all the words your ears could possibly hear in a lifetime. By searching OK Storytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, go there. We have full episodes. So many. But Dakota, we are reaching the end of it.
Anyone listens to this story and is like, that sounds spookily familiar to my situation, but I don't think I'm being taken advantage of. Run. You are being taken advantage of.
Bingo.
You know, if people are going to exploit you with like little to no care or regard for your own feelings or experiences or well-being, then hey, you have to support them, even if they're related.
Yes.
That is all I have to say about that.
Getting into that up. Long story short, the paperwork I filed, I just turned in. I got a court time in about 2 hours. I have zero court experience whatsoever, so I'm going in by the seat of my pants. If it goes well, though, my grandparents and I can sleep a little safer knowing that if they get retaliatory, they'll have to do it with sticks and stones and a not 100% pure American, if you catch my drift. That's how we should censor that word moving forward.
Pure American freedom?
Pure American freedom. Grade A. Pow, pow. Keeping it brief because got a video planned. Extreme risk protection order dismissed. Judge said I was polite and concise, but officially there is not enough evidence. Oh no. High bar of standard for that petition. I'm getting in talks with Grandpa to see if his lawyer can rephrase all of this better to the court. So it unfortunately looks like the family is crazy mom is still strapped. Crazy mom is still strapped. The court has not said you can't be, and
I wonder what they need.
Granny might get some pure American freedom. So let's get into these comments. So comment number 1 says, I have a mental disability too. My mom wouldn't be caught dead doing this to me. I have my own job and make my own money. To which Opie replied, yeah, that's something I have to learn. I don't even know how much I get from the government because I got served a threat of restraining order before I could even get my paperwork. The one thing I forgot leaving the place. So OP literally doesn't even know how much he's getting through the checks. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Again, if that sounds like you are being taken advantage of.
So now I gotta wait a month to figure out my worth and then funnel that into finding a place out in Washington near my boyfriend, and then transfer my services to a new state. And yeah, you get my point. Might have done a lot so far, but I still have much to go. Commenter number 2 says, glad you are looking to the future and making plans. Your mom is too much. You can say that again. And would have kept you at home forever if she could. I mean, most people have to pay their maids, but your mom got a clean house and 2 paychecks from you. Yeah, because OP was doing a bunch of chores.
That is true.
Forgot about that. So glad you're out of there. Best wishes to you. To which OP replies, I mean, for heaven's sakes, she had this 5-year plan that involved keeping me and my brother around long enough for us to land a home on the range, stick me in grandma's cottage, and retire to my brother's home to live with him for the last of their days. Yo, she plotted out, she plotted out the mooching, like just strategic mooching for the rest of her life. I can't even.
I mean, is there a universe where if that plan is just out in the open with OP, that OP's totally down? If you're not just exploiting OP?
Yes. As long as it's not, like, if all parties are down, why not? They saw my brother as the retirement plan and me as necessary baggage to keep my brother from seeing the manipulate.
Gross.
Wow.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
My stepmother refuses to change her hurtful behavior. It made me upset.
Ow! It hurts and I'm upset.
Important background information. I promise this is important and provides context/nuance. I, 20 female, am my dad's only child. He and my mom divorced when I was very young on good terms. My dad remarried in 2017 to my stepmom. Let's call her Emma, a common Japanese name. By the way, this comes from the theater and JTV. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my dad was born and raised in Mexico, moving to the US in 2000. I was born here in 2004. You're a baby. Emma was born and raised in Japan and moved here permanently in 2018. My dad speaks English and Spanish. My stepmom speaks English, Spanish, and Japanese. And I speak English, Spanish, and am learning Japanese. Sick.
You have to add a 4th language. You got to add like Croatian or something.
Sometimes this can lead to miscommunication because of the language barriers. I graduated high school at 16, moved into my own apartment at 17, graduated university at 19, and now work a very demanding physically and emotionally job in EMS. All of that to say I've had more serious, mature life experiences than most people my age. I am a very picky eater. I can normally find something at any restaurant as long as I get to see the menu beforehand. I have some trauma around spicy foods in particular. My dad force-fed me hot sauce when I talked back as a kind of punishment. Terrible. And also have a very sensitive nose. I'm even able to smell booze on patients' breath when my partners cannot. Now on to the main story. Last month, December 2024, we traveled to spend the holidays in Japan. This was my second time there and was kind of meant to serve as a late graduation present since I finished university earlier that year. We were about 8 days into the trip when everything went horribly wrong. We were staying in Hiroshima and woke up early. I had breakfast around 6:20 and we made our way to the Peace Memorial Museum, a museum dedicated to the atomic bomb and its impact. I stayed until around noon. My stepmom is from Yokohama and isn't too familiar with the area, so we struggled a bit to find our way around. Eventually, we made our way to a dock where boats depart to Miyajima, a famous island. The boat was set to depart in 15 minutes. I was getting hungry and tried to buy a snack, but the vendor only accepted cash, so I had to wait until we arrived at the island. It took about 40 minutes to arrive. Once we arrived, my dad and Emma ordered some oysters. I was willing to give them a try until I smelled them and saw the texture. They smelled too strong and the jiggly texture was too much. I passed and said I would eat on the way back from the shrine, main attraction on the island. At this point, it's 1:30 and we only have until 4 p.m. to get back to the dock. I suggest we walk along the shoreline to get to the shrine faster so I will have time to eat lunch before we leave. But my stepmom says we should just go the long way because that is all the shops and restaurants. I just wanted to hurry up, but they decide to have a look around. Finally, we get to the shrine. We go inside, and it's very beautiful. Eventually, we're done seeing everything. We all meet up to look for the exit. They're confused and unsure of which way to go, so I venture off to find the exit. I do and decide to wait for them at the end of the pier. This is all like building up very slowly.
But it's all very important, as OP said.
About 10 to 15 minutes pass, so I decide to just walk back towards the docks and hope to find some food on the way. I find a place, but again, they only take cash. I don't have any, so I decide to text my dad and ask if they will bring me some cash so I can have lunch. Keep in mind, it is 3:02 p.m. at this point, and I haven't eaten since 6:20 a.m. I would be angry. We message back and forth, and I'm able to see his location via Find My Friends. They had gone off to see another part of the island and said they would make their way back. I gave them directions on how to get to me. They went the wrong way, and I immediately noticed. I texted asking them to go back. They said they couldn't find me and kept walking towards the docks. I was begging them at that point to come meet me, but they just kept walking the wrong direction. Keep in mind, they also have my location, and all they had to do was follow that. 30 minutes passed, and I was crying at this point. I was really frustrated and couldn't believe they couldn't follow simple written instructions or even Google Maps. They refused to come get me, telling me I could just get food from the convenience store, and I had to go back to the docks without food to make it back in time for departure. As I walked up to them, because I can follow a map, I said, "Please leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you." I was really hurt that they weren't willing to look for me, and I just couldn't fathom the fact that they could not use a map. My dad, who was well-intentioned but misguided, kept saying sorry and he didn't mean to hurt me, etc.
I'm confused now.
What's going on?
If you're so good at using the map, maybe that's why they didn't look for you, because they just had full faith that you could find your way.
It seems like they were on this island. Everyone was eating oysters. OP's like, I don't want to eat oysters, and so goes off on their own to go on like a little hunt for food. And then everyone's like, hey, we need you to come back. And she's like, but I'm getting food and they only take cash. And everyone's like, okay, but we're leaving now.
Then OP's like, I'm upset that they didn't come find me. I think OP's just a very sensitive person.
I feel like it's about to get crazy. I repeated, I need space. I don't want to say something hurtful, so please leave me alone. He did not listen and kept pushing. Then my stepmom jumped in and asked in an accusatory tone why I didn't just go find them and why I split off from the group. I explained that we were all looking for the exit, so I figured we would end up in the same place, and said it didn't make sense for me to leave the place where I found food when all I needed was cash that they could have brought me. Finally, we get on the boat, I put on my AirPods, and they leave me alone. I had been without food for 10 hours at this point. I put on the Wicked soundtrack.
To be clear, a normal amount of time to not eat food.
Just as I had said earlier, because I was left alone and given space to decompress and process my emotions, all was well. I offered my dad my phone charger as a peace offering and held his hand. We got off the boat, and I think I'm finally going to get to eat. The same stand I tried to eat at before we left the island is still open. My stepmom, however, says we should wait to eat because we have a dinner reservation at 6:30, and right now it's 4:30, so it's too late to eat. And that's when you say, no, I need to get food now.
Yeah, that's when you say, I'm 20 and I'm allowed to make my decision to eat before dinner.
I'm annoyed. They had lunch, but I didn't. We keep walking, and eventually we make it to dinner. 12 hours without food while walking 15 to 20K steps per day, which is not my normal in the US. We sit down at the restaurant and look at the menu. I found something I wanted to eat, roast beef and rice. My stepmom says she's excited to try it and wants to hear what I'll think of what they're ordering. I'm confused. I say, this is what I'm ordering. She says that it's customary to order a bunch of small dishes and share them with the table rather than each person having their own meal. We have not done this the entire trip, and all I want is to eat my food in peace. Important to note, they're both sick. I don't even like my own food touching itself. Why would I want to share my own food with them?
You can't do share plates when you're ill. What are we doing? Let this person eat food.
I say, no, I'm okay. I just want to eat my own meal. She shames me for being so picky and states that since we're in Japan, we need to do things the Japanese way. I could see that, maybe, if we were being hosted by friends or strangers. But it is just the three of us at a restaurant where we get to choose what we eat. I shrug and she orders our food. You need to say, no, I'm eating my food. As the food comes out, my face falls and tears begin to stream down my face. This is the food I've waited for 13 hours, and there's raw egg on it. I'm bawling at this point. OP's just so hungry. I think they've gone a little bit delusional.
seems extremely sensitive to things like outside of what they're expecting or what they want. And I think that is driving probably a lot of the frustration from the rest of the family.
I think honestly at this point you just need to be like, you know what, I don't want to have to deal with anything, so let's just give OP what she wants, and then we don't have a problem. My dad is mortified and immediately tries scraping the egg off the rest of the food. This makes me cry even more. I sniffle and say to them, I'm not mad at either of you, I'm just very frustrated. I continue to cry, and my stepmom huffs and looks annoyed. Once my dad gets most of the egg off, I try a couple bites, still sort of crying. I say, sorry, I'm so frustrated. It's just that nothing has gone right today. I'm just sad. Emma scoffs and says, you think you're the only one who's frustrated? You think you're the only one whose day didn't go as planned? I'm very taken aback by this. I reply, I understand if you're frustrated too. She continues, why are you so picky? Why can't you just eat the food? If you're going to do things the American way, maybe you shouldn't travel anymore.
All right, you stink. It's stepmom syndrome, I'd say. I think the stepmom is just, I'm trying to get into her mind and being like, why is she like, you think you're the day's the only one that got messed up? And it's like, girl, relax, all right? You've literally pushed her to this.
I think sometimes when you're on a longer vacation and you're in each other's presence all day, you clash. I explain that I can't help it, and that's just how my taste buds are, and there's no reason for me to not to travel, especially since I have family abroad in 2 different countries. My dad tried to mediate, and we talk a bit more about the events earlier that day, and he continues to promise he would never do anything intentional to hurt me. I also think really quick that the stepmom's view is also annoying because sometimes people have like dietary restrictions.
Yeah, seems like she's just really annoyed. The most annoying thing is to do the shared plates while people are sick. That's weird.
I explained how I had felt like they were very selfish that day and how it had felt like they had been self-centered many other times during the trip. For example, in another city, we stayed in a hotel with 2 queen beds in one room. I had one and they had the other. Because of this, I could hear very clearly when they were talking at a normal volume early in the morning. I asked if they could whisper, because I was still trying to sleep, but they did not. This hotel suite also had a separated hallway and closet area where we were storing the suitcases. The last night, I finished packing my suitcase, so I went to bed. My parents stayed up and moved the suitcases into the room with the beds to pack. I asked if they could turn the main light off or pack in the hall, but they said no. My stepmom at the restaurant said I had been the selfish one because I didn't help them pack their suitcases. You gotta pack your own suitcase. We go on vacation every year and I have never once helped them pack their suitcases and they have never helped me pack mine. It's unnecessary since we were all adults capable of doing it ourselves. She argues that because I'm an adult, I need to contribute and help the family. Eventually, me and my dad step out and I discuss with him the possibility of me flying home early. I was homesick and being at such odds with Emma, I figured it was the best option for everyone. The cost difference in changing my flight would only be $1, which obviously I could pay. My dad asks me to sleep on it and asks what would make me feel better. I say having space. We aren't used to being this together for this long. We both go back inside. My dad brings up the idea up to Emma, and she's absolutely fuming. She starts raging at me, saying I'm not allowed to leave, and I cannot leave. I say, no, actually I can. I'm an adult, and I'm fully capable of leaving. Yeah, you can't stop OP from leaving. It's $1. They can pay that. She calls me a child and says I will make my dad so sad if I leave, and that she put in so much time and money into planning this trip, and I cannot take the ticket they paid for and use it to fly back early. She says we should never travel together as a family again. I left the restaurant again in tears with my dad. I think that's true, though. You clearly have different traveling styles.
I think there needs to be a little more give and take. I don't think the solution is never travel again. I guess it matters a little less because she is 20. It's like she's not living at home age, but like still, if you're going to be in a long-term committed relationship with like your stepmother, you'd want her to be able to get along and travel with your daughter.
Which is why the dad needs to step in more and like calm everyone down because it feels like he's not doing a lot. I also think it's frustrating as she is the stepmom and it seems like she's trying to enforce a lot of like parenting onto, again, this adult. Emma, because English is not her native language, does not always have the right words to say exactly what she means. This is okay and no fault of her own, but what I have an issue with is how she handles it. This has been a problem since I've known her. Back in 2018, my best friend at the time had a seizure. When she woke up, she was confused and didn't recognize me. It was Halloween, so I had clown makeup on and she curled back in fear. It was heartbreaking and terrifying to experience. When my parents picked me up, I told them I didn't want to talk about it. My stepmom pressed for details and was annoyed when I didn't share. The next morning, I was agitated that she had ignored my boundaries. So when I left for school, I didn't hug her goodbye. She said, no hug. And I said, I'm still upset. She said, fine, then don't come home.
That's not toxic.
I was shocked and cried as I walked to the bus. Apparently what she meant was don't come home with that attitude.
I can believe there was something lost in translation there because especially with like Japanese to English, there are so many things that don't translate at all.
But that is not what she said, and she never apologized. And that's the issue.
And at the end of the day, if you did say the wrong thing, you still have to apologize for that thing, even if you didn't mean it.
This happens again and again, and to me, it's not an issue with language, but with self-control and compassion. When I have something to say to someone I love, and I, 1, don't have the words to say exactly what I mean, and or 2, the only words I have are hurtful, I simply do not say anything. I bite my tongue and move on. There were several times I controlled myself in the restaurant and did not say things because they were cruel. I won't give examples because that's not kind. Anyways, if I, at 20 years of age, have the maturity and self-control to not hurt the people I love, why at 50 years old does she not?
One of life's greatest questions.
And if this has been an issue for 7 years now, why has she not done any work to fix it if she is causing harm to people she loves? My dad says he experiences the same issues, but because she's his wife, he just takes it and always comes to her defense. You need to figure that out.
Maybe he's got a hot wife.
He always says, well, what she means by that is, but that's not what she said. And it's not coming from her, and she never apologizes. It's 3 weeks later, and she still has not apologized, and the words, that is not what I meant, or I'm sorry I hurt you, have never come from her mouth. By the way, you know what comes from our mouths? Full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search for OK Storytime. And there is a little bit left of the story. Honestly, I think at the beginning, there were easy solutions to her problems, but at the end of the day, it seems like the stepmom keeps just making everything worse, and the dad doesn't want to stand up to her at all or try to mitigate the situation.
Dad is passive.
Yeah, which in the long run is not going to help either of them have a relationship.
This is not an ideal familial unit.
I do not know how I can continue to have a relationship with someone who doesn't care that they're hurting me. I do not deserve to be spoken to and treated with no compassion. From now on, I'm going to book my own accommodations for family trips. But in the meantime, I don't know what to do. I don't want my relationship with my dad to suffer. We usually have dinner once a week. But honestly, I do not want to be around my stepmom right now. I still have so many unresolved feelings. So, am I the a-hole for still being upset that my stepmom won't change?
That's a weird way to phrase that. No.
I think you are 20, which also doesn't necessarily mean that you are at your maximum level of maturity. Again, you're 20, and this woman is 50 years old, and she's egging on a 20-year-old and bullying a 20-year-old. And at the end of the day, your stepmom is a problem, and your dad is not doing anything about it.
You know, once people get to that age, she's not going to change unless it comes from within her. You are not going to be the catalyst for her to change and become a more empathetic, understanding, and caring person. And that's something that I feel like a lot of young people struggle with their parents or authority figures. I did. I wanted to change my parents a lot, and then I finally had the epiphany in my mid-20s where it's like, you know, I'm unable to be the generator of change in that context. So you just have to let go of that.
But that is the end of that story.
My son has been acting weirdly rude after he moved back in, so I confronted him. In the front. My son, 23 male, got married and had a child. Ooh, young father. And he and his wife have been staying with my wife and I until we can find a permanent place to live. However, ever since he's been here, he started acting weird. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Remarkable. And if you want to send in your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime. Send them in. First, he tells me that his wife isn't comfortable staying in the same room as him at our house. I say that one of them can sleep in the guest room, but that isn't good enough. So he asked if his wife can stay in my wife's room. We have separate rooms because sometimes we want space for ourselves. I tell him no, as there is a perfectly good and unoccupied guest room. Okay, son is bugging out over here. He suggests, back to the story, using his older sister's room, 25 females room, but I say no to that as well, as he then suggests that one of his two younger siblings, 20 female and 18 male, give up their rooms. Of course, I say no to this as well. Opie says he's also been nagging his younger siblings to do stuff for him that he should be doing for himself. Cleaning up after himself, doing his and his wife's laundry, making sure the baby is fed. Crazy.
I'm trying to help him out as best as I can, but I'm almost at my wit's end. My wife is a surgeon and has a very specific schedule, while I run a business and a very flexible hours, so I'll meal prep for her. She doesn't even have to lift a finger when she gets home. The problem is, he has started eating all of the prepped meals and gets mad when I asked him to replace the food he ate. He also occasionally eats his siblings' meal prep, but not as often as he does my wife's. He's always been more of a mama's boy, so I thought he was doing this for her attention at first, but I realized he never behaves like this when she's home. He tried to demand his younger sister to babysit. She, of course, said no because she doesn't have any time because it's finals week. He told his younger brother to do it and, of course, got the same answer. He then went off on them saying that he needed someone to babysit at least twice a week. I said that I'd do it as I'm almost always free, but he was adamant about having his younger siblings do it. So his reasoning was because they don't have jobs or children of their own, so they have nothing better to do. I shut that down and reminded him that college is stressful and they should be focusing on that. Plus, they have lives and friends outside of us. I asked if they could babysit every once in a while because it's their Christmas break, but demanding they be available twice a week is ridiculous, especially when I have the most availability. I've asked him if there was a reason that he was doing all of this, or if there was something that I did to make him ask this way. But he's always said that he's fine. At this point, I'm just thinking about telling him to find a new place to stay for the time being because it's so stressful dealing with his behavior. I talked to my wife about it. When she talked to him, she said that she got the same answer. I just don't know what to do anymore. So relevant comments. Commenter number 1 question, has mama's boy ever heard no before? Has he ever experienced a single consequence? Is this a new behavior, or is he just acting like this because he knows that with enough bullying, he'll be able to successfully bulldoze through everyone's boundaries like always? Is this truly new, or have you just forgotten what it's like because he hasn't lived with you for a few years? Has he never bullied his siblings before now, or have you just not been paying attention? Opie says this is truly a new behavior for him. He's never acted this entitled before. Plus, his mother and siblings have never been the type to let him run over them and have also called him out on it. Besides, my wife, who isn't around when he exhibits this behavior, so I've only been able to tell her about it, and she hasn't seen it with her own eyes. This is why I find his behavior so weird. Another comment, did OP's son feel like he was left out of their family when growing up with his siblings? Opie says he was raised by my wife, myself, and my wife's extended family. I've asked him throughout the years if he's ever felt like we haven't given him the proper attention, but he denies this and says that we did more than enough for him. So now I'm starting to doubt he was being truthful because he's never acted like this before. I've heard in families with lots of kids, the older kids can start to feel left out or forgotten. So I've always asked my 2 oldest children if their needs are being met because I don't want them to feel pushed aside. Very great, by the way. He's been to a therapist to deal with a loss, but that's about it. As for his education, he's expressed after his graduation that he regrets getting an English degree and wants to go to medical school. My wife explained that he can get into a really good medical school with an English degree. Wow. She's been trying to help him with applications, but I'm guessing that he hasn't done anything about that yet. And we have an update. What are we doing here?
Sit down, be real. My dad got real with my brother one time because my brother was like going down this one path, and he was like, my dad kind of saw some like things he should like, like, hey, you got to do this if you're really serious about this. Hard conversations coming.
Yeah.
You're stepping into adulthood. You're going to have to provide for yourself. The things that you're doing aren't really there. And as like my parents, they rose me up, like they were like whittling a little arrow, and they were like, all right, we're going to see how far this thing can go. And then they let it loose. And like, we're not supposed to be made to be in a nest, and you need to like, I started doing my laundry at 10. I was like, I ain't doing that. And if I am, you got to pay me. She was all about getting paid. Dude, did I tell you like one time I didn't clean my room, and she put everything in a bag and made me like pay for everything? And like, I was like, how much for my shoes? She's like, $5 each. I'm like, not $5 for the pair? She's like, no, $5 each. So, because I mean, if you don't clean, you're going to have to hire a maid to clean for you. So that's
so
what I
funny.
would be ready, like preparing for, is like, hey, real world's not like this. You can't just steal other people's meal preps.
Yeah.
You can't go into the office and steal people's food, because then one day they'll catch on and they'll put hot sauce into it or laxatives, and then you'll get into a lawsuit.
Wow.
Right,
That I mean, we've seen it happen.
We've seen it
unfortunately.
happen.
Honestly, this is, I think, probably how I would feel doing it with my 23-year-old son. Is I would be like, "Hey, look, we want to help you.
Yeah.
We are always going to be here to help you, but you are making it insanely hard to help you. You decided to have a child,
Yep.
intentionally or unintentionally. You made a decision that led to a child. Here you are. You have to deal with the responsibilities that come with that.
Oh yeah.
Either you make the change or we're going to have to start thinking about like what the future is of how we can help you." I don't know if I would have the actual heart to like
'Cause
not
it's your
let
kid.
him live there.
Yeah.
And also know, but like, I think at least saying that to be like, "Hey, you won't just get to like freeload and demand of everyone and be entitled without any pushback." Thanks to everyone who gave me advice and spoke to their experience of what happened to them. My wife and I decided to sit everyone down and have a talk. We decided to wait until our eldest daughter came back from Christmas so she wasn't left in the dark. I didn't want to put too much information because I've heard it's easy to identify people here, even though pretty much everyone is anonymous. They both have jobs. Their plan is to move out sometime next month. Oh, well, that's good.
Oh wow.
Other kids are crushing it, bro.
Dang.
Before discussing it with the whole family, I asked my eldest if she noticed any changes in his behavior when they've talked on the phone or if she knows of anyone in his circle who might have influenced him. I know it's a long shot. She lives a little over 5 hours away. She hasn't noticed any changes in their conversations. However, like the comments she mentioned, maybe he's been watching certain media and is upset about his wife making more than him. She's also suggested bipolar disorder, postpartum depression. Maybe he regrets getting married and having a kid so early, or maybe he was expecting some sort of special treatment for being the first / doing it all. I also asked my parents if he was like this when he was staying with them in New York for college. They said he was the perfect guest. He'd clean up, do everyone's laundry, wash dishes, make dinner, etc. Like, basically, OP cannot like put his finger on like why he is. I think it's the wife. I think the wife is like being like, why is everyone not, you have a whole family when they could be doing everything for us and I could do nothing and we could do nothing and we don't have to do anything.
I see.
As for my daughter-in-law not wanting to sleep in the same room as him, she says only when at a parent's house and that it's a family thing. I didn't think much of it considering I also have hang-ups that would be considered absurd. My son said when they visited her parents once, they were not allowed to sleep in the same room, so there's not much I can do about that. They already have a kid together. Just during our discussion, we went over our house rules, which are the same as always. Clean up after yourself, do your own chores, don't eat other people's food / leftovers. We will help out with the baby, but you are responsible for the bulk of the care. Yes, they're free to use son's room and the guest room, but everyone else's room is that you literally have 2 rooms. You have a free 2-bedroom. Come on. And we cleared up some cabinet space and the fridge space for them to put their stuff. We discussed how he and his wife are solely responsible for their new life they've made together, but our family will always be there for them. We've also put together a list of houses that are within their budget, and they will be checking them out after Christmas. Of course, we also talked about giving him the boot if he didn't go to counseling and correct his behavior.
Oh.
He gave apologies to everyone in the house and offered to make everyone's dinner.
I see you.
Well,
He'll do it for 2 weeks.
get back in. Another talk. You're right. Let me get on the straight and narrow.
Yep.
And just the cycle repeats.
It's just whenever you have hard talks like that, people that instantly go the other way, it's not sustainable. You need to do like little steps.
Interesting observation. Like if someone is like, you're right, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. It's like they're like love bombing.
Exactly.
If the apology doesn't seem like enough, it was for his siblings and mother, so I can't really say whether it should have been accepted or not. It was up to them. Right now, everything's sort of back to normal, and there seems to be harmony in the house again. I know this update isn't much, but I struggled writing it because of the private conversation I had with my son. Apparently, daughter-in-law's parents have been pressuring him to move them into a house out here. They live in Chicago and claim they will file a lawsuit for the expense of the wedding, around $25,000, and custody of their child.
Huh? Okay, custody of the child. like, okay, I can see where your Marcel mind could get there, but I have no idea how you can do a lawsuit for the expense of a wedding. Am I missing something there?
Meanwhile, by the way, I mean, you can sue someone for anything, but it's like they're still married and raising a kid. By the way, meanwhile, they're the one housing your daughter and grandchild. They're the one. They're like, yeah, we'll still help. Like we will help. We will give you free babysitting and like all these things. We will give you 2 bedrooms in our house, in our, surgeon house.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. I mean, there's like freaking a quadrillion bedrooms in this place.
Absolutely.
This is not a freaking shack. So I'm pretty sure if they do this, it'll be a waste of time and money on their part, and it would be considered extortion of some sort. My goodness. But we will be consulting a lawyer just in case. Wow. He hadn't told daughter-in-law anything about this. When I asked him why he didn't just talk to her about this, he said that he thought he could handle it himself, but realized that he just couldn't, but didn't know how to tell anybody about the situation. For now, daughter-in-law is handling it, and my son has stopped responding to their texts. So that's what happened. Sorry if I missed anything. Well, what an insane, like 11th hour plot twist that came completely out of nowhere. And
we were headed in a great direction.
yeah,
We were doing great.
yes.
And then Worm Tongue, thank you everyone. Wait a second. The wife was the one that was like worm tonguing the brother, right?
The in-laws, right? The in-laws were pressuring OP's son, not even the daughter or anything. OP and the daughter-in-law, they didn't know anything about this until recently. He the son was just absorbing, which maybe this is why he was freaking out and being like, everyone take care of the babies and all this stuff, because he was solo dealing with his in-laws pressuring him like, we're going to sue you.
Yeah.
We're going to fight for custody. We're going to do all this stuff.
Yeah. Because what I thought was happening was son was acting this way because the wife was like, oh, we don't, like you said earlier, we can have other people do things for us. And then I was thinking like the worm tongue of the worm tongue was
the grandparents.
Yeah.
But it's, as of where we are right now, if we were taking everything at face value, daughter-in-law is doing nothing wrong.
Okay.
It's the in-laws
that's the actual.
I could be wrong.
Okay.
But that's what it seems like as of right now.
I suspect my son being a couple with his guy friend. I want to let him know it's okay.
Oh, wait, what?
That could have
That's
been
good.
that almost
I was looking
turned
for that
out
to
bad.
switch up to bad, but that's good.
My boy is 20 years old. He's absolutely my pride and joy, and there is nothing he could do that would ever make me love him less. For the first half of his life, I regrettably wasn't involved very much. His mother and I parted ways when he was just a few months old. At that time, I was struggling with a substance abuse problem and was probably not as present in his life as I should have been, nor was I suited to fatherhood at all. By the way, this comes from Throw a Love My Gay Son. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I saw him at most 2 to 3 times a year for the first 12 years of his life. I won't discuss details because that's his private story to tell. But when he was 12, he revealed to me that he was being badly mistreated at the hands of his mother and her boyfriend. Oh. Despite not being the best father at the time, I didn't want my boy suffering anymore. So I got myself cleaned up and sorted out in order to get full custody of him. I've effectively been a single and sober father ever since, and he has little to no contact with his mother. I mean, at least he stepped up. That's pretty good.
Shout out. This is a
Shout
good start.
out.
This is a good start.
He's everything a man could want his son to be. He's uniquely kind and fiercely loyal. He's unflinchingly brave. He's incredibly generous, and despite the horrors he suffered as a child, he's unfailingly positive and sunny to the last. Somehow, I, of all people, was bestowed with the honor of watching him grow from a sweet young boy to the greatest man I have ever known. I cannot stress enough pride in him. When he was 18, he got accepted into a top-ranking university on the other side of the country. I was sad to see him go, but simultaneously overjoyed that he got into his first choice and was starting a new chapter in his life. He comes home once every other month, and on the months he doesn't come home, I go to visit him in college. He's doing well at uni, has made lots of friends, and seems incredibly happy there, which I'm obviously chuffed about. Since his second year, he's lived with his friend in a flat off campus. I've strongly suspected since his early teens that my son loves men. And I now know more or less have confirmation that this is true and that his friend is actually his boyfriend, but for some reason, his son doesn't feel like he can. So for this little pandemic faff, my son decided he'd rather come home and quarantine at mine than stay at his uni flat. His friend, however, would be left alone if my son came back, as he's Canadian and his family is back over there, and I gather he doesn't have the best relationship with them anyway. He asked if it would be okay if his friend tagged along to my house, and I said, of course, no problem. They've been back at mine for about 6 weeks. They think they're being subtle. I know. But I've caught them doing coupley things on several occasions. The friend has slipped up a couple of times, called my son babe and sweetie in front of me, which I pretended not to notice for the sake of saving embarrassment. There have been nights where we'll be watching a film with the lights off and thinking I can't see, my son will have his arm around the friend. One day, I walked into the lounge, and I'd be positive that they had just been kissing and were trying to cover it. Though I admit I have no confirmation on that one. The most solid evidence, however, came a few mornings ago. I get up very early to go for runs in the morning, hence why I'm making a Reddit post at 5 in the morning. As far as I was told, my son was sleeping in his childhood room and his friend was in the guest room. I don't know what possessed me to do so, but on Tuesday morning, I cracked my son's door open to check on him like I used to when he was a kid. Lo and behold, they're both asleep, snuggled up together in my son's bed. That's more or less solidified for me that they're together. I didn't say anything, just shut the door and went for a run. And I haven't mentioned it to them yet either. What I want advice on is this. So chat, give me your advice. Give it to me. How do I let my son and his boyfriend know that I'm okay with them being a couple and they don't have to feel like they have to sneak around in my house? You can smooch in front of daddy, I guess. I want them to be comfortable here. And I want them to know I support them both no matter what. Or is that not a good idea? Am I better off leaving it alone and waiting until they tell me themselves? If they ever do. I obviously don't want to force either of them out of the closet, but at the same time, I hate feeling as if they feel like they're being forced into the closet in my house. Sometimes, being in a secret relationship adds to the spice.
I was gonna say
forbidden love.
Being sneaky. It adds a layer.
Adds a layer. A layer to the brick.
That's why we, all these stories of people cheating. It's like they kind of like being sneaky. There's a sneakiness about it.
Yeah, just let them.
Which doesn't make it okay.
What's the best course of action here? We got some comments. All right, comments. First, congrats on cleaning your life up and being there for your son. Most of the comments here are great, and I think any of them would be fine. Just reassure your son it's okay and that you'll love him no matter his sexuality. My friend's dad left his son a sticky note for him to find that just said he loves him and approves of his boyfriend because he's such a gentleman. Lol. I think reassurance is best, but I love everyone else's comments. And we got an update. Hello, lovely people. As promised, I'm back with an update. Want to top this off with a big thank you. Everyone who left such lovely, thoughtful comments. Honestly, didn't expect so many people to see the post. I was thinking maybe an absolute maximum of 100 people would see it, and even that seemed like loads. It was lovely to hear back from so many of you, and I'm forever grateful for the fantastic advice most of you gave. Also overjoyed by my new adopted Reddit children. Haha, you're all doing amazing. I'm very proud of you all. Also, big thanks to all of the lovely people who sent me such sweet messages of support, and to those of you who reached out to me because you felt you needed someone to talk to. If anyone else feels that way and is in need of dadly advice, do feel free to give me a message and I will do my best to help out. Okay. You all want me to shut up and tell me what happened? My son was busy with some assignments, both for his freelancing job and his uni work most of the day, and I didn't want to disturb him, so I waited until after dinner to chat. The friend that could be the boyfriend that is staying with OP and the dad, went to have a bath while my son and I watched telly. I told him face to face, son, I love you
Oh.
very much. You don't have to tell me anything you don't want, but I want you and friend to feel comfortable being yourselves and loving whatever worm you want to love in my house. And you don't ever need to hide your worms from me. All right? Well, it turns out a heck of a lot of you were right. And son burst out laughing and said, oh, thank God. I reckon you clicked on, but didn't say anything because I didn't want to make you feel weird. Basically, we've been pussyfooting around the topic because neither one of us wanted to make the other uncomfortable talking about it. We had a bit of a chat, and he confirmed that I'm right in thinking they've been together since their first year of uni, and that's why they moved in together the second year. However, apparently, I'm not as brilliant and intuitive as I thought because apparently one of his friends in secondary school was his boyfriend for a year, and I had absolutely no idea. So if they wanted to be sneaky, they could. By the way, if you want to be sneaky and listen to us when you least expect we'd know you'd be listening, go over to our podcast, OK Storytime, wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is, and just search OK Storytime. Listen to us. Come on.
That's right.
But he went and talked to the boyfriend after his bath, and then we all had a bit of a further chat. Sadly, a lot of you were right that the reason the boyfriend doesn't have a good relationship with his parents is because he came out to them a few years ago, and they effectively disowned him.
What a stinky batch of parental
Stinky
units.
Family, stinky stink. So I made him sure that he knows that he's a part of our family now. Sorry if that's all not as exciting and groundbreaking as some of you hoped. Haha, I'm glad this is something my little boy, no longer feels he has to keep from me. And I'm very glad he's happy with his partner. Thank you all again for the help. And we got some relevant comments with maybe a response from OP. Just imagine being your son's boyfriend and to all of a sudden have an actual home and parent to fall back on. All the money in the world cannot buy that, what you just gave him. That is where that story ends.
Big true. Look
So
at that.
cute. So cute. So cute. We love to see it. We love to be it. We love to onomatopoeia it.
That's right.
Boop. That's my onomatopoeia.
My family hid a shocking secret about my wedding venue, and it broke us.
Was the secret that they suck?
I want to apologize for how long this ended up getting. It was cathartic for me to let it all out and explain my side, but I got a little carried away. I, 26 female, am getting married this year to my fiance, 27 male, who I've been with for 8 years. By the way, this comes from user Troubled Bride Throwaway, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we have been engaged for a few years now. The initial venue we found was a state over and was owned by a friend of my bio father. My relationships with my bio father and his family have always been complicated, but at the time we were on good terms, and the venue was close to where they live, so I was hoping that would bring us closer. The venue was beautiful, and we were able to book most of our vendors through their preferred vendor network. We paid our $500 deposit, and we had it booked a year and a half before our initial wedding date. As we approached the 7-month mark, my fiance and I decided it would be best to put off the wedding for 1 more year so we could finish up college and have more time to save. He reached out to the venue owner and he said he would pencil in a date change for us, no problem. During the call, I mentioned I was going to reach out to the other 2 preferred vendors we had booked, and the owner let them know that they no longer work with those vendors due to some disputes. He advised us to seek different vendors. He also said he would still love to work with us, though, and is happy we are still interested in having our wedding at their venue. That comment gave me a bit of a weird vibe, but I thanked him for the information and went to call my biofather's family to give them the heads up. My biofather's reaction at the time was a little weird. When we first booked the venue, he was so excited. He acted very proud that he was the one who made it happen by referring us to said venue, but on this call, he was like, oh, in that case, have you considered doing a different venue altogether? Maybe something closer to where you live currently? I thought the change of pace was odd and uncharacteristic of him, but I didn't say anything at the time. I told him no and that I still liked the venue, and that was the end of that.
So he's trying to get OP to change her mind, but without actually telling her why.
Like, what happened here? What could have possibly happened?
Someone, they're operating an illegal substance lab.
I think there was some sort of incident that involved police, prison, maybe the coroner. I don't know. There could be something that really bad that happened. Now they've got a spooky ghost there.
I think so. It's haunted.
Freshly haunted. Now that we moved the date, I remembered a photographer that we really liked who was not available for our original date, and I decided to reach out to him to see if he was available for our new date. The photographer ended up sending us a response about a week later, essentially saying that he was available and would love to work with us, but he was not comfortable shooting at the venue, stating one of the owners is someone who has been involved in some pretty wildly inappropriate and illegal activities.
Okay. So that's why the owner emailed them and was like, wow, like I'm really appreciative that you like still want to work with us. That's why.
You're like, the photographer also let us know he wasn't judging us for using that venue, but was just not willing to associate his name with them. Needless to say, I was confused as so I responded, wait, what? Illegal activity? This is the first we're hearing of this, and now I'm a bit alarmed. What am I missing? In the response I got, the vendor apologized for stirring things up and sent me a link with 2 articles. The first one was from 2020 and was about the owner, my bio father's friend.
Ooh.
It stated that he was caught and arrested in a CP sting trying to meet up with a minor who was a cop posing as one near a local school. The second one was actually for a close relative of my bio father's friend who was the co-owner of the venue. An article from 2024 stated he was arrested for unlawful use of a weapon, DUI, menacing, and criminal trespass after wastedly waving around a bang bang and threatening people unprovoked at a convenience store. I was shocked and horrified. I thanked the photographer and continued to do more research, and I uncovered some more really concerning reviews regarding the owner's conduct. I called my bio father to give him the heads up about his friend, and that was when he told me that they had known for over a week. I felt hurt that they hadn't said anything and expressed that, but also tried to empathize with them and said that I wish I could have heard from them. I understand that they didn't have much time to process the information either, and that the decision of whether or not to tell me would have put them in a hard spot. I said I just need a little bit of space to process the information, but that I am not mad, just disappointed.
Kind of shocking that they only just learned about this like a week ago.
I mean, like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we don't know how long the bio father has been friends with these people, but like,
there's plenty of different ways that you could not know this about somebody who you've recently become friends with or recently met or whatever.
I don't understand, because I feel like, let's say bio father is friends with these people. They say bio's father's talking about how his daughter's getting married. The friend is like, oh, well, we have a wedding venue actually. The bio father doesn't look up any of this?
No.
I'm like, what?
Some people don't do any of that. Some people don't look stuff up.
I feel like this has got to be the first thing that would come up, you know? Like even if you were just looking up the website.
You could probably there's probably some kind of service you can pay to like push things down the Google search list.
Yeah.
You know, I have no idea though.
Weird.
I said I just needed a little bit of space to process the information, but then I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Oof. When I got off the phone, I went to share the news with my stepsister, who I considered a very close friend and was even one of my bridesmaids. I texted her saying, so might not be using the venue anymore. She responded with, yeah, why? I called her at this point because it was easier and said, because it sounds like the venue owner is a PDF file and the other venue owner is a 6-shooter wielding psycho. And her response was, oh, what drove you to that conclusion? I don't know about you, but I expected a very different reaction.
Yeah.
Her lack of surprise clued me in immediately, and I said, you already knew that, didn't you?
Yep.
Turns out, she had known for over a month and didn't say anything. To be honest, I wasn't surprised my bio father and stepmother didn't say anything, but I considered stepsister a very close friend, and it hurt my feelings a lot that she didn't say anything. I also found out that my bio father and stepmother knew at least a month beforehand, as my stepsister brought both articles to them when she found out, and they convinced her not to say anything. Why are they doing this? Are they?
I don't understand, because they don't want you. They didn't, like, your father tried to say, hey, I don't want you to, maybe you should find a new venue. So I don't understand why they kept it a secret.
I mean, like, is it from a place of like, we don't want to ruin the wedding?
I don't know.
She liked the venue so much. We can separate the art from the artist.
That's so
Or
weird.
it's like, yeah, the people who run this place are literal but
That's so weird.
the property is so nice. I don't know.
So weird.
I wouldn't want to support people who have this behavioral track record.
No.
I got off the phone because I was pretty upset and I didn't want to take it out on her. But I let her know that I didn't blame her and I still loved her. I just needed a little bit to collect my feelings. After that, she talked a bit more over text. She let me know that she really did want to tell me and that it was weighing on her a lot, but she was afraid because she didn't want to be cut off by the family. And her mother kept bullying her, telling her I would hate her for digging up dirt on my venue. She sent screenshots of the messages from them, which did, in fact, confirm her story. I told her I acknowledged that and that I just wish my feelings would have been considered first. I wish that I was given a choice and that you could have trusted me enough to come to me first. I ended the interaction by saying that I just needed to step away for a bit because my head was spinning, but that I still love and care about her. I didn't want to lash out at her, so I told her we could talk about it some other time and reassured her again that I still love her. She responded with, okay, love you. I'll be here when you're ready to talk. I'm sorry you've had a bad day and that this contributed to that. I thought that was the end of that, but not too long after this, I then get a message from my stepmom saying, just to be clear, I was not told that this man was a PDF file. I was told that the co-venue owner had a fight in a parking lot while wasted and he had a pew 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 with him or something like that. I would have never told anyone not to tell you the venue owner did that and to keep it a secret. I just didn't want your dream wedding to be ruined over a fight in a parking lot. Good night. I love you. To which I responded, I love you too. I just need some space for a while to cool down. Good night. Shortly after I sent that message, my bio father called me and told me my stepmother was freaking out about me being mad about the situation. Which people why can't people ever respect whatever, I just need a minute to cool off.
Yeah, OP is being so incredibly nice about the situation, especially when they all lied to her.
Yeah.
And OP's like, yeah, no, I get it. Just need a moment. And they're like, like, shut up, you know?
Yeah, just come on, man. He said I needed to message her and let her know I wasn't upset and that it wasn't her fault, so she would stop freaking out because it was bad for her health. To keep the peace, I ended up messaging her the following. Me, I'm not mad at you. I don't blame you for anything. I know you had good intentions. I just feel a bit humiliated that I had to find out from a photographer. I'm glad I found out before Save the Dates went out, because if anyone looked at the reviews and saw the part where it said, and please for the love of sanity, Google search the venue owner's full name, state, and city. This venue is not child friendly. It is not family friendly. I would have been mortified. Even more so if they did Google it and found the articles I did. I'm dealing with a lot of complicated emotions right now, and I wish I had been told by my family instead of finding out this way. It could have become a really bad situation, but I also understand it can be hard to broach the topic. I just need some time to process my thoughts. I'm not mad at you though, just my situation as a whole. I'm not mad at you at all. My biggest concern was the PDF file thing. I get how you would not want to ruin my day over a parking lot brawl. This was not my concern. I'm mostly hurt by the other part, and I know that you would have told me had you known. She responded with, okay, honey, and I'm not happy about this whole situation myself. I'm sure you're shocked and devastated. I don't know what to say, but this is exactly what I was hoping wasn't going to happen. I just didn't know the second piece of this and was getting really confused. Good night. After that, I sulked with my fiance for a while and then went to bed because I had to drive several hours for a work trip the next day. While I was driving, my bio father started blowing up my phone. Bio father said, good morning. Again, I'm truly sorry. I hope this doesn't create resentment towards us. We wanted to figure out how to approach you. Stepsister didn't say anything because I had asked her to let me deal with it. And again, stepmom was not aware. She did know beforehand, which was proven later in screenshots between her and stepsister. But at the time, I'm getting so much conflicting info that I didn't clock the timeline until later. We didn't want you to lose your deposit. And I was under the impression that you had put down $4,500 as a deposit, and we were devastated to think you would lose your deposit. No other venue lined up, and we had no clue how to fix it. Again, we had your best interest at heart, and we didn't know how to tell you without ruining your wedding.
This is
so much
frustrating.
so
dude.
Extra.
Literally could have said I'm so sorry. We made a bad call. We will do, whatever needs to be done to help you fix all of this mess. Could have just been that.
You just
and
say
instead
it
was like, oh, are you mad at us? Are you mad at us? I'm sorry. This was all the reasons. Here's all the excuses. Are you mad at us? It's
You
like,
say,
oh. Yes,
this
now
verbatim.
I am.
I have bad news. You're not going to want to use your wedding anymore. Your wedding venue, you're not going to want to use it anymore. Go, why? Well, the venue owner has some extremely troubling behavior.
Boom.
Boom. Done. When I didn't respond because I was in and out of meetings, he forwarded me a message of his correspondence with my stepsister.
Oh my God.
It came through all as one text message, and I didn't have the time to read the whole thing until much later, but essentially it was them pressuring my sister not to say anything and pretty much bullying her into thinking I would hate her. And she would be doing nothing but ruining everything I worked for if she told me. Then my bio father continues, this is the conversation that occurred when we found out about the parking lot incident. After that was when I looked him up online and found the article. This will show you that we were all trying to figure out what to do, present this issue to you. This conversation happened on April the 9th. We didn't even have time to process it ourselves and try to figure out what to help you with. So all this that you wish your family would have told you and all you're embarrassed and all that, guess what? We were trying to look out for you. So if you can't see that, then that's on you.
And now they're blaming OP. Now it's circled back from an apology into just blaming OP. Dude, I would be like, hey, I really didn't care before. Please leave me alone.
What's that sound?
Dig in that
They're just
hole.
digging that hole
Yeah.
extra deep.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we didn't know about the dirt, so we just kept digging.
And honestly, again, the solution is just go, oh my God, I just found out something that you're going to be upset about, but you have to know. It's true. Anyway, I admittedly did not read that whole text either until a while later, but I didn't want to make the situation worse, so I responded as quickly as I could with, hey, I'm just about to jump in a meeting. I was driving when your first message came through and have been in and out of appointments and meetings since, so I haven't had the time to respond, but I appreciate the apology, and I get y'all were looking out for me. Just needed a bit to process and plan the next steps. Love ya. To which he just responded by sending me his last paragraph again. Eventually, I was off work and called him, which basically turned into me apologizing for ever saying I was upset. And again, I thought that was the end of that. But then the next day, in the middle of dealing with a crisis at work, I randomly get a text from my stepmother saying, you and stepsister's drama has now caused me great distress. I really don't want to hear from either of you. You guys really need to grow up. The way that you pretended that you didn't know stepsister knew just to trick her just shows that you're craving drama. I want no part of any of this anymore, and it has single-handedly destroyed my relationship with my family member. The news should have been handled in a mature way. You should have addressed the situation and been honest. Because of what you did, stepsister and I are at each other's throats and our relationship is done. I won't talk to her ever again. Thank you. Me, what are you even talking about? I'm so lost and confused. Stepmother, you called stepsister and pretended you didn't know that she knew about the venue issue, and then at the end said, oh, but you knew, didn't you? And it's just not the mature way to handle things, and it has turned everyone against each other, trying to place blame. My relationship with her is now over. I really can't handle this stuff. I shouldn't even have been having to deal with this. I'm sick and now devastated. Stop it. You, the difficult one. Quit it. Stop it. You knew. He knew. You could have both said it earlier, and instead you said nothing, and it would have made OP look down the line like she supported a PDF file and didn't think he did anything wrong. Okay? That's all you, baby girl.
You're telling me that you're blaming OP for bullying your daughter?
You're like, my lies and deceit have been exposed by your truth. I hate
want
you.
to talk to me because I bullied her over this.
It's crazy.
Turned her against me.
You have done that yourself. I ended up going out to my car and calling her to ask what the heck's going on and try to smooth things over. She yelled and cried about how my stepsister and I are ruining her life and her reputation with our drama and how she is the victim in all this. She said I should have handled the situation maturely. I was literally just coming out of a work call that essentially told me that my position, which I worked years to get into and was even in the process of relocating for, was being eliminated. I would either have to accept a demotion or be laid off when all the messages from my stepmother started flooding in. I just didn't have the capacity to deal with this drama on top of that. So when she started laying into me, I started crying hysterically. I honestly just wanted the situation to be over. I felt like my world was crumbling and I was on the edge of a cliff. I cried, saying I didn't even care about the stupid wedding venue anymore, that I was over it and wish we could just drop the whole thing and move forward. I essentially just got a brief, sorry that happened to you. And then she continued on about how evil my stepsister is and how she's so sick about the situation and its effect on her health. I told her I had to go, and I called my bio father. I left him a message saying, I don't know what's going on between him, stepsister, and stepmom, but I can't handle all the drama of it right now. If he could just set the nonsense aside and be a goddamn father to me for 5 effing seconds, I feel like drowning right now, and I really needed some support. I said all this while still bawling. He called back a minute later and immediately started in about, how dare you speak to me that way? Brother, she teed you up. She gave you the juiciest little underhand toss for you to hit right out of the park, and instead
Been teeing
you
them
took
up.
the bat and you smacked her with it.
She's
That's not
been
cool.
teeing them up.
Crazy.
She said multiple times, like, yeah, I totally get it. Not mad at you. Just, was a little bit disappointed. And they're like, shut up. Just take the win, man.
And just in a voice
I
like,
guess take the L.
you speak to me that way? You're just a little boy. You're just a little boy. He went into a lecture about, he is my father, and I need to treat him with respect. I just quietly cried to myself, zoning out while he was ranting until he finally said, okay, so what's going on?
The switch up is insane.
These people are emotionally uncentered.
Crazy.
By that point, I felt so devastated and numb, I just monotonously explained what was said in the work call as briefly as I could and told him I had to go and thanked him for calling me. I came to a hard realization in that moment, one that I had always known but never wanted to truly admit to myself. I could be on the edge of a cliff ready to jump, but if it came between me and his ego, my biofather would push me off. He gave me the old Thanos Gamora. That's when I decided I needed to emotionally distance myself from that side of the family. I kept contact and still spoke with my biofather so that I could remain in my little brother's life, but I kept the conversations mostly about work and game plans for dealing with his situation. It was the easiest thing to talk about because my biofather liked to give his opinion, and it has a bit of a savior complex. So these conversations allowed me to stay as emotionally distant as possible while still able to keep the peace. Giving him updates on my job search gave me the excuse to contact him just enough that he and his wife would not start the resentment campaign that they do when someone doesn't contact them in a few weeks, while also showing I was busy enough that I had a valid excuse for not driving the 5 hours one way to visit them anytime I had free time. Even more drama erupted after this, which would honestly have to be a whole different post, but I just slowly stopped reaching out. Then I noticed they both unfriended me on Facebook, and I decided to put them on an information diet by blocking them. I ended up keeping contact to just birthdays and holidays, always me messaging them first, and occasionally my biofather would respond with a "you too." I cried when my birthday passed and I didn't get so much as a happy birthday. I wasn't surprised, but it still hurt. And like, honestly, these, in the parent-child relationship, it's like, I feel like the mending of it is like, it falls within the realm of the parent.
Absolutely.
To begin
And also,
the mend.
especially when they freaking started all of it.
Yeah, if you don't have the awareness or that there even is something to mend, then it's like, what are you,
Especially when you tried
gotta
to
work on that.
You tried to mend such a minor situation, and then they made it into like a freaking world-ending argument.
Yeah, and they just turned it into, no, actually, this is all your fault now. This is actually mostly your fault, and this is exactly what we thought was going to happen if we told you, which is why we didn't want to. And it's like, Dad, why is your friend a PDF file? Why are you not telling me that? Why are you not telling me that your friend
At the
is
end of the day,
a fan of the Adobe file format system?
yeah. Weirdo.
And now here we are.
So true.
We found a new venue, and I'm agonizing on whether or not to send them a save the date. And by the way, you can save the date. It's today and tomorrow and the day after that. And that's the days every day that we add new episodes with stories just like this. All you got to do is go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeartRadio and search OK Storytime. And there you will have a treat for the senses.
A treasure trove of stories.
A treasure trove. Great snakes, you'll say, because great googly moogly. There's so many stories in there.
Great.
We have a little bit more story left, and I've finished cooking. So, do we have anything to add here?
No, I think you just don't need to send them a save the day. They have shown you tried to smooth that situation over so many times, only for them to literally make it 10 times worse and then blame it all on you. So I think for peace of mind, you do not have to invite them.
Yeah, and then they blocked you on Facebook like they're 12 years old.
Weirdos.
Crazy.
Weirdos.
That is crazy. Yes, I know I have people pleaser syndrome. I've been working on upping my calcium for my backbone and cutting the BS from my diet, but it's been hard, doctor. I keep reflecting on all that had happened and how this incident really pushed a lot of it into motion. The thing is, I feel like I really did handle it in a mature manner. I let them know I was disappointed and needed space, but tried so hard to keep the peace, and everything just snowballed there from nothing. So I ask, am I the a-hole for expressing my disappointment? Should I still invite them to the wedding?
No.
If I don't, it would be drawing a line in the sand that I can't come back from. Your dad
They drew the line.
Your dad unfriended you from Facebook.
Yeah, that's a line that they've already drawn. You're just
That's
you're
a
just
pathetic
upholding a
little
boundary.
baby boy line, and
You're upholding the line.
You're
not
playing-
You're not drawing it.
you're playing with their rules.
Yeah.
So if they feel like they missed out, and you go, dang, I would have invited you, but I couldn't send you your Facebook invite.
Couldn't find you.
You probably could have
Sorry.
seen everything you needed to see on my Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Bummer.
since you blocked me, I guess you can't really see that.
Guess that's it.
I didn't know people like to go to the weddings of people they've blocked.
Yeah. But that's the end of that story.
My brother is blocking me from his life because of a lie his wife made up about me.
Block her.
There you have it. Just block her. I, female 38, am no longer in contact with my brother, male 30. I will refer to him as E, Elliot, and his now wife, female 36, whom I will refer to as S, Sally. They met and started seeing each other around 6 years ago. They met in a bar and he introduced Sally to the family not long after. Initially, we got along well. And by the way, this comes from you, initial meet 8729. If you want to submit your own stories, go to ROK Storytime subreddit. So, being 8 years older than Elliot, I have always had a maternal instinct toward him. I had longed for a sibling for many years before he arrived. And when I had finally had a brother, I wanted to do everything for him, bathing, changing, feeding, playing with him, and when we were older, babysitting. I did it all. I adored him. We grew up very close despite the age gap, and he would often run things by me, looking for advice as he grew older. The first time the family met Sally, I welcomed her with open arms and made a conscious effort to find common ground with her. I genuinely liked her. My aunt and uncle later said they found it strange that a woman in her 30s with her own home, mortgage, car, and a decent job wouldn't entertain the idea of a relationship with a 24-year-old man living at home with his mother with no driver's license, no car, and a minimum wage part-time job. So I honestly hadn't considered this, but it made me a little wary. A few months later, Elliot and Sally announced that they were expecting a baby together. This is when other family members began speculating that Sally was using him to have a baby. I thought this was slightly unfair because I liked her, but this accusation stayed in the back of my mind. From then on, I was very much looking out for signs of something being out of place. They had a beautiful baby boy, and we were all delighted. I was thrilled to be an aunt for the first time, and we made lots of trips to visit them in Sally's home, as Elliot had since moved in with her about an hour's drive away. For context that would be relevant later, I have 3 boys myself who are much older than Elliot and Sally's baby, as I had my children when I was very young. My boys have always had a wonderful relationship with Elliot, and we were super excited to have a baby cousin. A few months later, after their baby's arrival, Elliot and Sally were typical tired first-time parents. Sally had arranged to go to a spa day with some girlfriends for much-needed R&R, and Elliot asked if he could bring the baby over to my place and spend the day there, as he had never been left alone all day with the baby before. I was super excited to have the day with my nephew, and my boys were thrilled to spend time with their uncle and cousin. Elliot arrived and brought the baby inside. The baby was very unsettled, and Elliot mentioned that he had been like this for several days and that he and Sally were unsure why. Being a mother of 3 myself, I noticed straight away that the baby was teething, dribbling, red cheeks, runny, nappy, crying. I told Elliot what I thought and suggested some infant pain relief suitable for the baby's age. I happened to have some in the cupboard and asked if he would like to try it. He was unsure and wanted to run it by Sally first. He began trying to call and text her, but wasn't getting a response due to her being on a spa day, having treatments, and not having her phone on her. After several hours, Elliot said he wanted to try the infant pain relief. We gave it to the baby, and within 20 minutes, he was settled and smiling.
Yay.
The baby got a spa day. Elliot was so happy because his baby was no longer in pain, and we had a lovely time playing with him before he went for a nap. This is when Sally returned Elliot's calls and began freaking out about the idea of him being given medicine. Elliot tried to explain that it was appropriate for his age, that it had worked, and that the baby was now happy and settled. Sally was still angry, and Elliot began to worry because he had upset her. Sally later came by to collect Elliot and the baby and was visibly fuming with both of us. About an hour later, I received a text from Elliot saying that I had no right to give his baby medicine.
Come on.
That Sally was upset and that she wanted me to apologize. So I spoke with Sally and smoothed things over. Although she was clearly still unhappy, we moved on. So a short time after this, I came across a Facebook post created by Sally with photos of their son. Okay, I'm nervous where this is going. He looked just like an old photo I had of my brother at around the same age. I took a picture of the photo I had and commented saying how alike they were. Next thing I know, I could no longer access Sally's profile. I had been blocked. I then received a message from Elliot asking me to apologize to Sally for my comment. I was baffled and asked him what he meant. He explained that one of Sally's friends had commented before me saying how the baby looked like Sally and that my comment and photograph were seen as challenging Sally's friend's opinion.
Presumably, the baby looks like both of them.
Yeah.
They're
are-
both their parents.
You know, I feel like that's such a common thing. You're going to a party and it's like, oh my God, he has your eyes. He has
Yeah.
your nose.
Yeah.
Sally was very upset. I told my brother that I would not be apologizing, that I'd done nothing wrong, and that I was entitled to my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's also a compliment. At the time, I was packing to go away on a holiday on my own with 3 kids, and I was super busy, so I didn't have time for unnecessary drama. I went away on holiday and didn't think any more of it, expecting everything to blow over while we were away. It didn't. We later met up as a family for my aunt's birthday meal at a restaurant. My aunt texted me and my brother in advance, explaining that she wanted the family to be together and that she did not want any issues at the meal. She said that if we did not want to speak to one another, that was totally fine, so long as no one was nasty or caused a scene. I arrived with my 3 children and saw Elliot and Sally already there with their baby. They did not make eye contact with me, so I took their lead and found a seat at the opposite end of the table. My boys went over to them to say hello before coming back to sit near me. The meal arrived and everything seemed to be going well. Toward the end of the evening, the baby became restless, so they took him out of his pushchair. We all took turns holding him, passing him along the table for cuddles, or bouncing him on our knees. I took my turn, enjoyed some time with my nephew, and managed to get a photo of myself with him. Now a fond memory for me.
Ooh, they're gonna hate that. They're gonna be like, "How dare you take
How
a photo
you
of our
dare
child?"
you? Yeah. After the meal, once we were back home, I got another text from my brother. What do you think he's gonna be mad about?
He's gonna say, "I can't believe that you took a photo of
You think
our
it's the
child
photo?
without our permission."
After the meal, once we were back home, I got another text from my brother complaining that I had the opposite, ignored their baby. I told him that this was not true and sent him the photo of the baby on my knee. He responded by asking me to delete
He's like,
the photo,
"Chicken meat."
as I did
gotcha.
not have permission to photograph his son.
Got it. Nailed it. Nailed it.
But it's how is he mad at both? He's
That-
like,
no, but I think that was
He's
like
just
a
bad, bro.
No, he was like, "How dare you ignore my child?" And OP was like, "I didn't. Here's proof." And he's like, "Gotcha."
all right. The month after this incident, it was my brother's birthday, and my mom, myself, and my boys were invited over to the house for a takeaway. I saw this as an olive branch and decided it would be a good idea to go and try to clear the air. Don't look at the baby, but don't ignore the baby.
Yeah.
But don't take a photo of the baby, but make sure you do photograph the baby. But if the baby is in pain, make sure to help it. But if you help it wrong, you're in the wrong.
It's all about balance.
And that's called motherhood.
When we arrived, Elliot answered the door and told us that Sally was upstairs with a friend and that she would be down a bit later. He gave us the takeaway menu and left us alone downstairs while he went upstairs with Sally and her friend. It was weird, and there was definitely an atmosphere. We looked through the menu to decide what we wanted to order. My brother came back down sometime later and said, "How dare you order something?" and ordered the food, deciding to pick it up rather than having it delivered since it was only a 10-minute walk away. My eldest son asked if he could go with my brother to collect the food, and they both set off together, leaving myself, me mom, and my 2 younger brothers on our own downstairs since Sally still hadn't come downstairs. We went into the kitchen to prepare plates, glasses, and cutlery for when Elliot and my son returned with the food. When they arrived, Sally and her friend came into the kitchen to plate up their food while we were plating up ours. Neither of them said anything to any of us, and it was really awkward. I asked my brother where he would like us to sit to eat because there was a small table in the kitchen big enough to seat 4 people, but there were 8 of us. He told us to go and sit in the living room, so we did. My mom, my 3 boys, and I sat with our food on our laps, and my brother joined us, but Sally and her friend remained in the kitchen. After we finished eating, I made our excuses and left because the atmosphere was too uncomfortable to bear. When we got home, I received a message from my brother saying that Sally had told him that while he and my son were out collecting the food, she had came downstairs and said hello to me, and that I had ignored her.
She was upstairs the whole time.
No, but then she came. She
and
came
went
home
directly to the kitchen.
and then said specifically didn't say anything. So she lied.
Man.
I responded telling him this was untrue and then called my mom to clarify that I hadn't gotten it wrong. I was seriously starting to doubt my own sanity at this point. My mom agreed with me and called my brother to tell him that what Sally was saying was untrue. He told her that he believed Sally, that her friend was backing her up, and that Sally was not a liar, but my mom called me back and said there wasn't much more she could do because she was worried that if she kept telling Elliot that Sally was lying, she might not be able to have contact with her grandson.
Okay, but what about OP's children? I mean, it just seems like she's like, "Oh yeah, OP will, let us walk all over her. So it doesn't matter if I don't defend her."
You could only say so much to be like, this didn't happen, and then at some point,
Yeah.
you're just gonna be hurting the relationship, and as a mother, like, what else can you do?
That's frustrating though.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. This whole situation is very frustrating. Then I received a message from Elliot saying that I was no longer allowed any contact with my
That's
nephew.
ridiculous. That's
This is so
ridiculous.
sad, dude. A few days later, I had an email from my dad who had up until this point not been too involved in the situation. He and my mom divorced over 20 years ago and is not local to the rest of the family. He and I are close, and he wanted to give me fair warning of the storm that was brewing. It could brew even more. He forwarded me a letter that Sally had emailed to the entire family. Dude, dad's looking out for OP. Mom, dad, auntie, uncle, and grandma. A 4-page Word document listing everything that I had supposedly done wrong to herself, Elliot, and their baby. And they're all lies, according to OP.
And they're all lies.
All from the perspective of a lunatic. I called each of my family members and asked them what they thought of the email. They all said they would be standing by me, but did not want to be the one to respond to defend me, as they were all concerned about their relationship with Elliot and the baby. She had clearly been threatening everyone with this prospect of not being involved in the baby's life should anyone challenge her.
a
At that
tyrant.
point, as a family, I would be like, no. As OP, I would expect that I don't be upset if my family
Yeah.
isn't
If you say
standing
that you-
up.
yeah, if you
And
say
out of
believe me
fear
and
of
stand
them
with
being
me,
kicked
then-
out, they're just going to be complicit in me being mislabeled,
Yeah.
lied about, and kicked out of a relationship with my nephew. I would be furious at my family.
Me too.
My dad, therefore, took the lead. Shout out, Dad.
Nice.
And replied on behalf of the whole family, saying that this would not be tolerated. No one had a response to this. About a month later, Elliot and Sally sent out wedding invitations. They had gotten engaged. Damn, that sucks. The whole family was invited, including my children, all except me and my dad. You gonna invite the children and not their own freaking mom? I replied on behalf of my children, stating they would not be attending. But this was really difficult because they were old enough to know that they had been invited and were missing out. So my mom offered to take them with her, but I declined. I felt enough was enough. This was the final straw. The wedding day came and went. My mom, auntie, uncle, and grandma attended. I wonder if there was any effort on OP's end to like message the brother and say, or like call him or have a private conversation and be like, I understand this is sensitive because, you know, you support your partner as you should,
Yeah.
but like none of this is true. I love you. I want to have a relationship with you. And yet it seems anything I do, I'm made to be the villain.
Well,
What
it
do we
seems like
do
in the
here?
past, at least, it seems like I think OP said something along the lines of, yeah, like I told him that wasn't true or that wasn't happened.
Yeah.
And then
Well-
just keeps getting blocked on things.
So on my brother's birthday after the wedding, I sent him a card with a note inside telling him that although a lot had happened, I still wanted to be his sister and wanted a relationship with my nephew. That's sweet. I suggested that maybe we could meet up and talk. I also mentioned that if Sally apologized for sending the entire family lies about me, I would move on and be civil towards her. I hope we could all have some kind of relationship. I received a text from Elliot that very same day. What do you think he said?
How dare you not come to my wedding?
Sally said she invited you and begged you
And
to come.
you didn't come to my wedding?
Yeah. I received a text from Elliot that very same day. He explained that Sally was heavily pregnant and that she found my note so upsetting that he was concerned for the health of both her and the baby.
Oh my goodness.
I can't. He said if anything happened to her or the baby, it would all be my fault. Ugh. I also received text messages from Sally's siblings telling me I was bullying a pregnant woman and that stress
Oh my
would
god.
cause serious problems, which they would hold me accountable
Oh,
for.
he's not even talking to them.
Yeah, it's like it's not for you, Sally. This is not a message for you. I was then blocked on all apps. I was
Oh my
glad because I did not want any further communication with any of them. At this point, there's nothing you could do. And you just have to send a private conversation to your brother or private message to your brother, and for family of his wife to be messaging you, putting the health of a pregnant woman on your hands.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, okay. Like I
just
can't do
can't
anything
imagine
here.
the family like continuing to be okay with this behavior.
I've since heard through my mom that they have had another baby boy and that both Sally and the baby are doing well. Fast forward to the present day, my mom is getting older and has realized that someday she will no longer be here. She wants my brother and me to get along, not only for her own happiness and peace of mind, but for logistical reasons like organizing funeral arrangements and dividing assets after she is gone. I have agreed to meet Elliot, not Sally, but he will not agree to meet me. The rest of the family says that someone has to make the first move and that I should reach out to my brother despite being blocked on all routes of communication. And if you never want to be blocked, come listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
There you go. Never be blocked.
I feel as though I've done enough, and I am done. But on the other hand, I really want my mom to be happy. I completely understand where she is coming from because it would unalive me if my own children no longer spoke to one another. What should I do? I feel as though every time I try to resolve this issue, it just makes things worse. And I always seem to be blamed for causing upset just by trying to make contact. Should I be the one to make the next move for my mom, or should I just let it be? Also, am I the a-hole in this situation? Should I be the one apologizing? Have I missed something? It seems like I've missed something because I don't understand
What you've done wrong and
any of Elliot or
turn.
Sally's side.
You're just being scapegoated because I think that for some reason your sister-in-law is jealous of you.
Yeah, there's something
Yeah.
that she's furious about and that she's resenting you for, and
And she
she's turning
blames you.
every situation into.
She's trying to isolate not
We
only
don't
your
know.
brother from you, but you from your family.
Yeah. So on OP's end, I don't know what you can do. I think you could try to do something. It seems like you've tried to already reach out, and
Yeah.
you got blamed for the health for the ill health of a pregnant woman. And I wouldn't put it against you if you were like, I can't do anything here.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to reach out, I think that would be brave, and I think that you would just have to be okay with the consequences of, Sally like coming at you again. It's not it's up to you. Like I would say both of those make sense.
I think I'm on the side of like reaching out to the family members and being like, hey.
To what family members?
Well, I think you can start with your mom because you already know your dad is on your side, and so for your
What are the
mom,
family members gonna do?
just stand up for you. Like I understand that you might lose access to the nephew, but if everyone stands up, I mean,
Yeah, I like this course of action.
yeah,
Of everyone standing up and
and
reaching
saying,
out
hey, this
to
is not
Elliot
okay behavior.
and be like, what the hell,
Yeah,
dude?
what's going on?
Yeah, that's a good course of action. It seems like anything OP does doesn't work out.
Yeah,
And so the whole family member, like,
hopefully
Elliot, if Sally was like, you can't be friends, you can't be in relationship with any of your family members, he would be like, okay,
hopefully
let me actually think this
that.
through first.
Mhm.
So that's a good idea, Sophia.
Thank you. My brother tried to exclude me from Christmas dinner, so I said I won't attend.
Try to exclude me, I'll exclude myself.
Guess who's freaking getting coal for Christmas?
You.
My family has always spent the Christmas together at our parents'. Last year was the first year we spent it at my brother's 20s and his wife 20s. Due to it being the first time, they were understandably very stressed and had troubles getting things together, especially taking into account my dietary restrictions. By the way, this comes from Flattree11, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, last year, I, female 20s, didn't live in the same city as them, so I couldn't really help with the preparations, but this year I do. Since I'm a student, the money is tight, but my brother and sister-in-law earn extremely well, even compared to our parents. When we spent the Christmas at our parents, we didn't have to contribute financially towards the feast, but this year the costs are shared by our parents and them. As I can't afford it, my compensation is the organization and cooking the feast, as none of them enjoy such things. This is not a small task, since I'll have to start the preparations days before Christmas and do everything on my own. That's crazy that they're making you cook. Cooking is arguably the hardest part. Like just buying the things is like the easiest thing.
I was about to correct you so
Yeah,
hard.
no, I just misspoke. Cooking is arguably
I'm like,
that
just
would be
because you're
crazy.
good at it.
No, cooking is it's definitely the hardest part.
It's so rough learning to cook, dude. I used to mess up noodles every time I would cook
Aw.
them. Used to.
Aw,
Used
Dakota doesn't know
to.
how to cook noodles. This is not a small task, since I'll have to start the preparations days before Christmas and do everything on my own. However, since I'm not the one paying for the meal, I have shared my plans weeks ago with all of them, and they have agreed on the menu. A couple days ago, I sat down and calculated how much all of this would cost and sent the info to my family. This did not go down well with my brother. He is extremely frugal, which is fine and all, but the cost of the feast is the same as it has been every year. Mind you, it is nothing crazy, honestly. honestly, but costs more than a regular everyday meal. I said, fine, we can cut something back if he wants, and asked what he wanted to give up. He chose the one thing I wanted to make for myself as a treat, since almost everything else is something I can't eat, but the rest of them can eat all of it. I said, okay, anything else? But he didn't want to give up anything else. I asked him if he was serious that my dish would be the only one we would get rid of and not one of their multiple sides. I don't want to eat only potatoes and salad. His response was that it's all so expensive, and since it's something that most of us wouldn't eat, it doesn't make sense to make it. My brother pulled the same move last year, and my mother put her foot down and forced my brother to include me. Since then, he has constantly told us how we are so emotional and stir up unnecessary drama. So to his opinion, I said that's fine. I'll just not attend and spend the Christmas by myself, since I can't afford to pay for the dish, since I already provided my main. My brother got mad and said that it's not what he meant. I replied that this would be the most elegant solution to the problem, since the feast would be cheaper and I wouldn't have to work so hard for a meal I can't eat. And this would have the added bonus of not causing too much drama, since I do so voluntarily. I know I'm probably an a-hole just for this. He got super mad at me while my mom got mad at him and decided to spend the Christmas at my place. Now everyone is mad at everyone, but honestly, I'm mainly just sad and feel like I ruined everyone's Christmas. Am I the a-hole? No, I mean, there's more to this story. There's an edit too. I don't think so. I think you just said, I mean, he was supposed to pay for it and he couldn't do that one thing, and he could have fixed it all by just saying, I'll pay for one more thing.
I like being like, okay, so you just don't want me to have my meal? You don't want me to have my thing that I can eat?
It's frustrating.
It's like,
because he would probably be like, oh, well, you can pay to make it. And it's like, okay, OP is doing literally everything, making all the food that she can't eat willingly, and is asking you to, and honestly, her meal's probably like maybe an extra, at most like $10.
Honestly,
I'm guessing.
super deserves to be put on blast. And like, if you
Yeah.
really can't afford it right now, I'll pay you back.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how you're going to pay me back.
Yeah. Or pick, but the
yeah.
thing is that, or you pick something else on the menu that, you know, not just the one that OP can eat.
Right.
Kind of ridiculous.
Be just have a shred of thoughtfulness for 1 second.
Edit to add, I have seen a lot of comments saying that they would like to help me to contribute financially towards the meal. While I find these offers extremely kind, I simply feel like this wouldn't be appropriate, since I will be fine regardless of the outcome of my Christmas. Instead, I'd like to ask you to consider donating, only if you truly can, to your local homeless shelters, food banks, etc., so those that have nothing or very little could have something for the holidays. Thank you and happy holidays. What a lovely, that's so sweet.
OP's a little sweetie.
OP's a little sweetie.
Little sweetie
I mean, just
pie.
from that, OP was like, yeah, I'm great. And then frickin' went the mile further and showed that the brother is definitely the a-hole here. Comments. Comment 1, not the a-hole. Honestly, sounds like your brother is the one stirring up drama. He chose your dish on purpose. OP says, I'm honestly unsure about that. I don't think he thinks it as excluding me, but since he's not interested in eating it, he feels it's unnecessary and doesn't seem to understand why it's such a big deal for me. Comment 2, not the a-hole. I must say that I've never heard of family charging family for a holiday meal. Your solution really is the best way given your brother's attitude. And OP says, we usually do pay for it, or at least part of it, when we go over and eat at his place, since he's so strict with money that he basically won't buy enough food for everyone to feel full afterwards. That's
I mean,
like, why?
if he's that
why are you
hard
hosting
up
people?
for money, don't host.
That's kind of silly. Like, if you're so strict about it that you're not going to pay for any of it,
And
don't
sometimes
host.
you can't afford to host
And
a
that's fine.
evening.
Just don't host.
Yeah.
I guess we are kind of resigned to this after so many years, but he never offers any money in return when visiting. Reply, do you know other families who do this? Is it a cultural or miserly issue with your brother? I admit I had to laugh at myself for thinking, hey, I could have been profiting off my family this whole time, JK. But I'll add that he's stingy and a hypocrite for charging family, but then eating their food for free. It's a whack situation, in my opinion.
He'd just be like, that's just the way I do it.
He's like, I don't have the money to host you, or to host myself, but also I'm just gonna come eat for free.
That's the way I do it.
OP says, I honestly don't know for sure how it is done within other families when the kids are adults and are hosting. When our parents hosted, we kids never paid. Yeah, I mean, that would be crazy if you guys were paying your parents.
Charge the kids.
It's like
I
they're
charge
like
my
14.
kids every time I make them dinner. I charge them.
Charge them $2.
That's
every day.
$4 in the daddy's new power tool fund.
Sure. Last year, my brother and his wife paid completely, but this year, my parents decided to take part in covering the costs, as my brother has been going on about the costs since summer. My mother actually got really mad at him at some point, and so them paying half is partly out of spite. But yeah, I think in our culture, it's polite to offer to pay so that the host can decline. And there is an update. But yeah, I think that this is, I mean, that you got a smaller Christmas this year, but your brother seems like he stinks.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got to really go back to the lab.
Yeah.
And figure out
why he's so stinky.
Why, he needs more money.
He needs more money.
If he really can't, if he feels like he needs to charge people for the food,
I
then
can't imagine that even if he had more money, he would act any differently. Because I think when you have this very, very stingy mindset, it's not even like, oh, I don't have a lot of money, so I can't be doing that right now. It's like, I'm going to do it anyway, but also charge everyone around me and make everyone else pay for my lifestyle.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like
I don't think that's something that changes when you get more money. I think it's just kind of like it
doesn't feel like a scarcity mindset. Mindset, I don't think you're hosting in the first place.
No, it feels like kind of greedy.
Yeah.
But there is an update.
Stinks.
Thanks. First of all, thank you for all the comments on my original post, even for the ones who deemed me the a-hole. I tried to respond to all of them, but after the 100th comment, it became hard to keep up, but I did read all of them. For those who are interested, I have something to update on my family, Christmas, and my brother. He called yesterday and wanted to come over to talk. When he got here, he started by apologizing on his part of the argument, admitting that he acted poorly. He told me he hadn't really paid much attention on the menu since I was in charge of it. And thus, when he suggested we cut out my side, he didn't realize I'd practically have nothing else to eat, and in the heat of the moment, he couldn't take that into account. He then went on to tell me something I didn't quite expect him to, since he isn't one to really talk about these kinds of things. I won't go into too much detail, but when I was a baby and he was young, our family went through some financial hardships. I'm too young to remember it, but it left a mark on him. He said that this is what was behind his reaction, and he was sorry for letting his anxieties get a hold of him. He did reassure me that his intention wasn't to exclude me. He offered to pay for my side and asked me if there was anything else I wanted to have, but I told him I was fine with this side, as there was some concern regarding the division of labor and me paying for my own main when theirs was included in the family budget. I did raise the issue and said I'd, however, appreciate if they pitched a bit more in terms of the labor. He agreed and said we really should include my main in the budget as well. So I told him I would send him recipes and instructions and would be available for advice if they needed it. I'm still doing most of the labor, but I consider this fair and not a hardship. They'll do the dishes after, though, as I hate those. Really quick pausing. This seems like really positive, actually.
Yeah, it seems like we've pivoted.
Yeah, because I was going to be like, oh, well, no way he really means that, but it seems like he kind of means it.
Yeah.
I mean, he realized that he made a mistake, owning up to it.
We love that.
Okay.
Love that.
I also asked what made him think about his actions, and he told me it was really hard not to come to the realization that he acted poorly when everyone he cares about is mad at him, including his wife. Good on those people.
Nice. W wife.
And on top of that, he didn't feel good about the thought of leaving things like that and of not having me over for Christmas. So yeah, I don't think I cut him too much slack in the end, even if some thought so. He can be a little misguided sometimes, but he's not a bad person. It just sometimes takes a little bit more time for him to come around. There is definitely work to be done regarding him respecting other people's opinions, but I have hope for him still. And I have hope that you guys can listen to full episodes with stories just like this one. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime, and you'll find all of those stories that you've been hankering for. But there is a little bit left to this story. What? Do you have any final thoughts?
Sometimes all you got to do is listen to the people around you who are screaming at you that you're wrong.
Yeah. Sometimes when everyone is saying, you're wrong, you made a mistake, you have to be like, wow.
Maybe I'm right.
But then also sometimes when that happens, you got to go, no, you're all wrong.
No,
actually.
you're all wrong.
It's very hard to determine sometimes which version of that it is, but in this case, it was very clearly like everyone yelled at you because you were wrong.
And there you have it.
And they were right about that. So
it's a tricky, slippery slope.
Yeah, but like everyone yelled at Steve Jobs. He was right.
And there you have it. I did apologize for my actions too, so don't worry about that. I wasn't completely blameless in how things progressed after all. So I guess this means that we will have our family Christmas despite this hiccup. We might try to figure out a solution that's fair for all for next Christmas, be it a potluck or something else. Anyway, I do hope that everyone has a wonderful holiday, and thank you again for all the comments. And that is the end of that story. There we go. There we go.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm glad that he figured himself out and owned up to his mistakes.
Sometimes you just got to see the light
Sometimes
before
you
you
just gotta
can
see
do
the light.
anything about it.
Ain't that the freaking truth?
Yeah. I excluded some family members from my wedding because of their discriminatory past.
Get out of here.
Throw away. But I'm 99% sure the family will find this anyway. Recently, my boyfriend, 25 male, and I, 24 male, of 4 years, got married. I come from a very traditional, if not stereotypical, Latino family. The chisme, or the gossip, is deeply ingrained in the whole family. By the way, this comes from user TaxDude2023, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the OK Storytime subreddit. So, I have about 7 uncles, one of which is also bi, like myself. He got married some time ago, and when he sent out invites to the whole family, a large majority of them declined because of religious reasons, which really saddened him. I kept this in mind when it came time to send out my invitations, and those particular family members did not get one. About a week ago, my husband and I went to my dad's house for the annual family reunion. I really didn't want to go because I knew in the back of my mind this absolutely was going to get around, despite the lack of posting on any social media. But my dad and mom really wanted me there. They are very supportive and the be loud and proud type of people, and I love them to the grave for it, even if it's a little obnoxious. The spirit is what counts, right? I voiced this concern to my dad, and he was very insistent that if crap goes south, he'll be right there with me to laugh about it. The entire time, my husband and I are getting some intense side-eye. The family that didn't attend didn't even try to hide the fact that they were whispering about my husband and I. About 2 hours later, as I am 6 or so whiskeys in, the straight uncles took initiative and decided to ambush me and ask why they weren't invited. Yeah, let's see. What could it be? Oh.
Do you know why they weren't
Yeah. Just
Dora.
Yeah, I was about to say it turns into Dora. I was polite, and I reminded them that they turned down the bi uncle's wedding for religious reasons. They responded with at least wanting to be thought about and being invited.
That's insane.
Technically, you
That's
were
insane.
thought about.
Okay, retro. I know we just said in the last story, like, oh, invite because even if they don't come. Not in this case.
Well, yeah, these people are
not
bigoted.
in this case because they're bigots.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, we weren't gonna come, but we wanted you to invite us so that we could say we're not coming to your wedding.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, we wanted you to invite us so that we could tell you that
have
God
a chance to
hates
be
you.
Yeah, we wanted you to invite us so that we had a chance to be bigots to your face. That's not fair.
I told them that I did think about them, and I decided they weren't worth the 57-cent postage to be told they weren't going to attend for bigoted reasons. It would be understanding to say that their reaction was less than pleased. Crap hit multiple fans. My uncles went off for being compared to a postage stamp. My dad was eating it up. My mom was a little pissy at me for causing a disturbance in her house, though, which unfortunately made me question everything in the moment. My grandma was giving me the judges in Spanish look. My husband kind of grabbed my hand and said, "Let's get out of here before you piss off any more people," in a laughing manner, and proceeded to drive us home. My dad sent me a "That's my boy! Good on you for standing up for yourself" text. My mom was still less than thrilled about how things went down. My bi uncle sent me a text saying, "Thank you for standing up for me, but now my relationship with my brothers is strained to heck, and I didn't want to." My phone and social media have been blowing the heck up ever since then, but I'm kind of ignoring it. I do feel bad for my uncle because he just wants to be close with all his brothers and not just one. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole for how things went down? And there's an edit to broadly state this. I have apologized to my uncle for using him as an example in what happened, and I truly didn't mean to make things harder for him with his brothers. I also expressed that it isn't exactly healthy for his well-being to want to put up with them, knowing how they feel about him before any of this happened. He kind of remains silent on the topic, so I'm trying to leave it alone and not force it. I would say not the a-hole, dude.
I don't think you're at all the a-hole.
Your uncle who's bi is just upset that his manufactured piece is being broken.
Yeah, it's like the freaking military, I feel like it's that kind of thing with this family, or especially with the uncles, of like, oh, we're fine right now. We're chill with our bi brother because we're not talking about it. He doesn't bring it out. We didn't go to his wedding. And as long as we don't even have to think about it, then we're going to let him be near us.
They're just like, I'm talking to the straight half of my bi brother.
Which is a really frustrating. I think the bi brother is now having to kind of reckon with like, oh, the second that anything about my sexuality comes up, they're going to ostracize me and blame me, even though I wasn't even part of that conversation.
Yeah, they're like talking to someone over here, and then they go, "You should hear this too." Here's some comments. Number 1, I'm curious. Why do they want to be invited? Do they really get so much enjoyment out of being like, no, nephew, I don't support your lifestyle, so I'm not going? I would have asked, if I had invited you, would you have come? OP responds, while there is no for sure way of knowing why they wanted to be invited, they are very loudly anti-LGBT. It's no secret. About half of their Facebook posts and Instagram posts are them making it loud and clear that it's not right. My favorite one was the one that circulated in June with the family under the umbrella protecting them from the rainbow. So between that and my uncle's wedding, I decided it's not even worth inviting them. Comment 2, not the a-hole, but go ahead and apologize to your uncle. You did not really need to bring him up at all. No,
what?
I disagree.
I mean, like, I understand what they're saying, but also I think it's kind of silly because OP was saying you didn't go to this wedding, so why would you have gone to mine?
The uncle
That's just
contextually
Yeah.
is what makes his argument in that moment. So
Yeah.
the spirit is what counts though, right? So it sounds like he agrees and loves you for it, but thought that it was a little obnoxious. LP says that I did apologize to him, but I expressed to him that this was kind of unhealthy to want to be close to people who are so against something you can't control. As for the whole obnoxious thing, I think you may have misunderstood me. Haha. He's the one that's obnoxious about it. He's gotten me several purple shirts and various articles of clothing that are purple. A couple years back, we were watching football. I don't know sports. And I asked him what a bye week is. His response was along the lines of the week where footballers sleep with men, so you better get on over there and get your pick. That kind of obnoxious. Haha. I'm glad he didn't turn out like my uncles. And there is an update here. Let's get into it. W-2s and 1099s are finally done. I finally have a break to post this. As I guessed, family did indeed find this. Between 7 uncles, one of my cousins likely showed them the post I originally made. It was obviously not received well. Anyways, I'm just going to go down the list in order of things or events that have happened. With my dad, first off, he wanted me to tell you all that he loved all the support and that he wishes to dad all of you as well. His words, quote, "It took 2 of us to make you, and I gotta say I love my work. Any parent that doesn't should never have tried." Well, your dad sounds like such a huge walking W.
Yeah,
honestly.
I love that.
My mom, she has called me asking why I brought up the events of my uncle's wedding. I told her that I was simply having a good time with my husband and everyone else, that my uncles made the conscious decision to want to start a problem. She got mad and said she just wanted to have a good party. I told her that I didn't want to be attacked for my spicy proclivities and not inviting blatant bigots to my wedding, but that I'm glad to hear that the party meant more to her. Oh, I mean, well, I think maybe pump the brakes on that. As a host,
Yeah, but
as a host, you understand.
to a certain extent, but also if one of my, the people at my parties was being attacked for their identity, I'd be like, the other person, get out of there. Like, I would blame the uncles more than the person being attacked.
That's true, but you're also not like the Latino elderly mother.
Which, this is a different type of, party.
I just explicitly as a host, strip your personality. Someone's making drama. Someone's involved in drama. Anyway, let's just continue. I don't know. We got into a shouting match over the phone. I told my dad what happened, and he's livid with her. They got into a fight, and now she's staying at my grandma's. I've apologized profusely to my dad, but he's telling me to let it go and that I've done nothing wrong. Above all else, this is what hurts the most. She was always very supportive of me, and it feels like a massive bombshell was just dropped out of nowhere.
You can just have another conversation with her, because if she's, she's not supportive of you now, I'm sure. She just doesn't really understand that this was a thing that needed to be said.
Right.
And that this wasn't something that you were trying to create drama over. It was just you were defending yourself.
And that is a much more eloquent way of saying, just pump the brakes, because there's a lot of politics that go into how she's feeling about this. And it's like, I'm sure she supports you and your decisions. My bi uncle, unbeknownst to me, my husband invited him over so he and I could have a heart-to-heart about what happened. It annoyed me a little bit, but I'm glad he invited him over. We talked about the post I made, and he saw everyone's comments. According to him, it kind of opened him up to the crap he was just ignoring, so he could pretend to have a close bond with all his brothers. At the same time, though, he's still not sure what to do from here. We talked for a few hours and had a good cry hug about it. Everything is good on that front, and it makes me happy. He'll be seeking therapy to help him deal with his feelings on this. And the other uncles. Obviously, they are livid with me. They couldn't believe that I post something like that, blasting them on the internet. They said they didn't like being painted the way I posted them.
Oh no, then maybe you shouldn't have sat for that painting the way that you did.
Oh no. Oh no. Why did you tell everyone that we're bigots? We like to keep that low key. Why'd you do that?
I didn't want everyone to know.
I just straight up asked them if they thought my bi uncle was going to the lake of fire because of his marriage, and to my shock, they had no problem saying yes. They didn't even try to dance around it. In the end, I told them if they didn't want to be painted as bigots, to lose the religious bigoted act. Plain and simple. My husband has been nonstop trying to comfort me after the shouting match with my mom. He can see the immense pain I'm in. I love that man very much, though. He took me out for steak and old fashions the other night to help get me relaxed. That's all, folks. Thank you. By the way, if you want to listen to full episodes with stories like this, all you have to do is go to iHeartRadio or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, search OK Storytime, and you will find the entire collection, the entire archive. It's over 1,200 hours now, so have fun listening to that. There is a little bit of story left. Sophia, do you have any final comments to add here?
Don't listen to your uncles. They're gonna, dude. Like I've got a lot of religious family, and have heard things over the years. You just gotta kind of tune those people out, and maybe you don't have to be around them if you don't want to be around them, and if they're not gonna be supportive. But yeah, I think you could definitely have a conversation with your mom about this, and that's my final thought.
Yeah, for me, I'd say number one thing is I think just try to salvage the situation with your mom right now, because it really and it's probably her brothers.
Yeah,
which is probably why she's a little more defensive about it. But it's I don't know. I think make her understand why you did what you did and where you're coming from, and then try your best to forgive her. Because it was I don't know. It just feels like if it continues to go downhill from here, it's almost, you don't want your uncle's stupidity to be why your relationship with your mom has gone downhill. You know what I mean? I don't know. But, you're also in the right to be you didn't stick up for me when I needed you to. What's up with that? You're right to be upset, but that's a pickle for sure. Let's finish off this story though. Hello, everyone. This blew up way bigger than the original post did. God dang. I definitely appreciate all the love and support I've received from everyone in the comments. As of this edit, I've decided to put some distance between myself and a lot of family. My dad is in support of this and will be coming over to my place more often than me going over to his and my mom's to visit. As for everything else, I've got my husband, Magic the Gathering, and a nice bottle of Crown Winter Wheat to help deal with everything else. Seriously, thank you, everyone. Words cannot express how awesome all of you are. And that is the end of that story.
Well, there we go. There you have it. I feel like you know what to do. Maybe.
Yes. The heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
You got a great partner. You got a great dad.
You got a great uncle.
And,
at least one.
We just send mom to the moon. Send mom to the
she's
moon.
She's gonna take a little think.
Yes.
Come right back. She's gonna be like, hey, sorry about that.
I ruined my mother-in-law's Christmas meal after she crossed a line.
Not Christmas.
I knew it was going to be bad, but I decided to give it a chance. So let's preface this with how the plans came about. Each year, mother-in-law asks us earlier and earlier about what our plans will be because I don't think anyone else would spend it with her, if I'm being honest. We are basically required to spend the day with them. By the way, this comes from user NoMasterpiece410, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, 2 weeks before Christmas, mother-in-law rang and said she would be cooking for us under the guise of us being so busy with work and deserving a break. I was like, no, but I settled in the middle as it wasn't worth an argument. She said she would do the turkey and the dessert. Okay, no problem. She knows I don't like Christmas pudding, but only brought Christmas pudding.
Wait, dude, did I just totally nail that they were British?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, you did. Luckily, I had planned ahead for this exact situation and bought a Yule log. Ha!
Nice.
Roll around to Christmas Eve and she demands we spend the day with her because it's their tradition. Never mind my side of the family and the fact that we're spending tomorrow with them. She knows I struggle with body confidence and this woman is a walking trigger. We mentioned that we watched Bridget Jones and she immediately went full monologue about how thin and beautiful she is after losing all that weight.
Oh.
Just like Bridget did in the movie. Sorry, what, love? She kept going on and on about it and I swear swear she saw my reaction and did it to hurt me. I hate this the most. She said other horrible crap about my weight before. I'm 5'5", 70 kilograms, so hardly overweight. Anyway, they insist we follow their schedule on Christmas. Even though we always worked around them when they hosted, we now had to eat at 5:30 instead of 2, which is when we would have liked. Fast forward to the big day itself. When they arrive, she says to me, "Go peel the veg." So I do. 15 minutes later, she comes in and tells me I've peeled the carrots wrong.
Ow.
Which I don't even know how
Okay.
you do that.
You do it. You went
Ow.
sideways, not long ways.
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't peel carrots.
No idea how you peel carrots wrong. I'm a 32-year-old woman. Then she dismisses me from the kitchen and tells me I'm not allowed back in for the rest of the time. We start cooking around 3:30. At this point, I know she's just going to cook what and how she wants. She tells me we won't be using my seasoning of choice, rosemary, and that she'll handle it.
I love rosemary.
Then she nominates my husband to go in and cook with her. I hear several quiet conversations, clearly meant for his ears only. Later on, I go in to grab a drink, and this woman had the audacity to repeatedly tell me, "Go away, go away, go away," in my own kitchen on Christmas Day. The meal I was supposed to be cooking. My husband has said or done pretty much nothing. I confronted him later, but he claimed he didn't see or hear anything of concern. After several digs at me and my knowledge, I get an attitude and start making things difficult for her. After dinner, I call my dad and start joking that the meal was so awful and that I hope he gets cat food next year because it would be better than this. And man, was she unhappy. But I used her own techniques against her, disguised it as a joke, and made offensive comments. Anyway, they
Okay.
left. Yeah, I mean...
Was that really the way to handle it?
I mean, sometimes, maybe if you get like a little conversation, you're like, the dinner, I was expecting a lot more out of it. It just wasn't up to par. And meanwhile, she's 5 feet away. She's seething, and you go, "Oh my God, no, I was being sarcastic."
I'm joking.
Your cooking was so great.
It had no salt. I'm joking.
I'm so glad you didn't use any salt and that rosemary is illegal in the kitchen now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I honestly hate my food with seasoning.
Yeah. Normally, they would text something saying like, "Thanks, it was wonderful," but it's been radio silence. Oh, and I also did something slightly diabolical while wasted.
Absolutely.
No.
I turned up the oven temperature on their Christmas pudding and burned it on purpose. When they saw it was burnt, I sat down in silence, enjoyed my Yule log, and went, I love Yule log.
What is going on? What?
It's such a shame. There's not enough for anyone else. I'm so sorry about your burnt pudding. I feel effing fantastic. After they left, I absolutely lost it at my husband for the first time properly. He tried to hug me, but I said, "No, you need to see how much this is hurting me," as I stood there screaming and crying about how they treat me.
Okay.
Don't know if that's the best way to go about that.
Okay, girly. I am sensing that we may not be using some healthy communication
I'm sensing a little toxicity
in our relationship.
in our city.
I don't think you need to reenact how it's hurting to your husband. I think we can use our words. I don't think we have to scream and cry.
We can cry. Don't scream.
Don't cry. Just cry.
If you're crying,
don't,
like-
you can just cry. Don't scream and cry.
I told him I will not be spending any more Christmases with her or her birthday in January. I am perpetually busy now and will not be going over. He can now deal with having to explain why I'm no longer existing in their lives. That was his choice. He can deal with it because I'm sick of advocating for myself and getting zero effing support. But we had already spent the last 2 years with them. We said no because we want to host Christmas for the first time this year. They said, "Okay, we'll come to you then." And I already knew it would go down like this. Yeah, they hijacked your hosting. Anyway, on the presumption that we are hosting, one would naturally assume that we're also going to be making dinner. My friend, who was an absolute gem in helping me through that day, she was texting me, keeping me sane and strong. It should have been my husband, though. Anyway, I'm sure there will be other stuff. I remember that she did, and put it in the comments. We have an update.
Ooh.
Okay? Should we just jump into it? I feel
Let's
like we've
jump
given a
in.
little bit of advice here.
Let's jump in.
You just give it a jump. Pogo, 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 pogo,
Don't
pogo,
jump.
pogo, pogo.
Jump.
Hey guys, can't thank you enough for all the support yesterday. Through tears and ugly cry laughing with you, I have a small update. I'm going to send a text. I've decided that I must let her know where we stand. I'll be sending it tomorrow in the daytime after having slept on it, though any advice is appreciated. I can't promise I will apply it. I want it to be in line with my feelings and beliefs. She knows nothing at this stage, so it will come out of the blue to her. Here's the text. Hey, mother-in-law. I have had so many reservations about sending another text. I believe this is now number 3, but unless serious changes are made, then I will have to think about how I wish to move forward in the future with our relationship. After Christmas Day, I don't feel I can keep quiet. I've been trying so hard to make excuses for the things that have been said and done, tried to keep smiling, but I'm afraid I have now reached a limit I'm not willing to surpass at my own expense. Here are the main issues I've had over the last couple of days. Note that there has been in almost every visit something said that I have found hurtful, but I can only summarize recent ones that have stuck out to me. My dad, implying my dad was harmful like yours, accusing my dad of ill intent at his job on a few occasions, saying my dad's wedding speech was taken from the internet, Christmas, agreeing that we will host Christmas Day only to have been banned from my own kitchen to cook how we want for our first ever Christmas, saying go away when I tried to be involved, down to the seasoning I wanted to use, even criticizing the way I chopped the carrots, refusing to give me even a vague idea of the time of meal readiness so I could warm up cookies food and make myself mash only to be told it's too late now. Control issues. It feels like you just want to control everything. I would never dream of telling you what to do in your own kitchen. Remember the stroganoff? It happened again. We tried to meet in the middle with you doing the turkey, but I am 32 years old and more than capable of cooking roast vegetables. It is offensive to me. I'm not in any way saying the food was bad because honestly it wasn't, and I genuinely enjoyed the meal. But the sour taste was left when you removed my autonomy. You remove our autonomy consistently and cross lines that no one should have to point out. I've said this before and I don't intend on saying it again. I'm honestly not ungrateful for any of the help or advice you've given when it has been appropriate, but it does often cross the line, becoming disrespectful. I feel that often it is said and done nicely, so it's hard for me to push back, but it does come across as disrespectful and controlling. For example, what we are allowed to do on holiday. It's advice we don't want. Let us do it our own way without making promises to you, and let us make our own mistakes. And lastly, this one happened a while back, but to be honest, it's unforgettable, and there is no other way I believe this would be said unless it was intended to hurt someone. When you took me outside on my own to look at the wedding flowers in the boot of your car, I said, "Oh, lovely. You don't need to spend loads on lots of flowers. A small bouquet is fine for me." And you responded with, "You are a big girl, so you'll need a big bouquet." Ooh. I was shocked and silenced the entire night, left and cried, but didn't know how I could ever accuse you of saying that, as I almost couldn't believe it myself. And being so close to the wedding, didn't want to cause drama, so brushed it under the rug. Ultimately, I regret that, as I don't think I will ever get over this, and at this point can't find it in me to forgive you for this comment. Aside from that, there have been several other inappropriate comments about my weight in the past. I remember once in the lakes, you were telling me that my food choices were bad, garlic bread, because it will make me even bigger. At the time, father-in-law even stepped in to stop you and said it isn't okay, but you tried to justify it and moved on. And by the way, you can always justify moving on to listening to full episodes with stories like these on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just go listen to every single episode of OK Storytime by searching our name on your platform of choice right after this, right?
Too long.
Way too long.
Too long. All I heard was your fault, your fault, your fault. Here's more of your fault. This is what she's gonna read. She's gonna read, I hate you, mother-in-law. You're the worst. Your fault. I hate you. That's what she's gonna read in that.
She's gonna hit you with the, I ain't reading all that.
If you want to open up a conversation, don't send this.
Yeah, on a real level, like, the likelihood of you changing her ways at this point in her life, significantly limited.
But I just don't think, I think that you could potentially approach the conversation effectively, but not with this novel of a text.
I think the person you need to approach is your husband.
Yes.
In this situation. I am not okay with any of this, and I also won't be silent any longer. I want to move forward, but there have to be genuine changes, and the next time a boundary is crossed, I will be calling it out, and if it continues, I will remove myself from the situation. I hope we can find a way to move past this, but please give me some space, as I'm feeling pretty crap about the entire thing.
Yeah, too much.
And that is the end of that story. And yowza. Yeah, in the words of my friend, look, sometimes we think we need to say all of those things, right?
And that is the process of kill your darlings.
Yeah,
But we feel very attached to our thoughts and our ideas, and we think that we have to read them out in their entirety.
in their when they were conceived, the
But,
genesis
yeah.
of the idea.
But 25% of that is the meat.
Yeah, you don't need to send every single thing that you think about your mother-in-law to her
And it's
all at the same
probably
time.
great that you wrote that all out, because now you have that. And you know
Yes,
how you feel, and you
exactly.
know, like, if she crosses this line, I'm not going to take it.
Yeah, it's
What you
like-
send to her is, hey, I wanted to talk about how I felt at Christmas. This is how I felt. Let's have a conversation about it. I want to improve our relationship, but right now it feels like we're at kind of a not great place.
Yeah, and then you hit the Gatling pew pew at the end. You're like all the bullet points. You're going.
And she was going,
And yeah, that
and then
is
she's
not
gonna
gonna.
pounce.
She's not gonna go. Oh my God! Now that you've pointed out everything I've ever done wrong, I see it.
Yeah. If your goal is to attack her and then get the heck out of there, then sure, send this. But yeah, if you want actual change, this is not the way to get it. But that is the end of that story.
I was disowned by my parents. Now my sister wants me to reconcile.
Sounds like that was your fault.
Sounds like a skill issue to me. July 23rd, 2019. We've got background. I was a quote-unquote difficult child growing up, to use my mother's favorite term for me. The oldest of 5 kids, never interested in boys, really into science and math. My mom especially kept trying to pressure me into more traditionally feminine pursuits. And starting in my junior year of high school, started trying to set me up with boys from families she approved of. Arranged marriages are common in my parents' culture. Needless to say, we fought a lot.
ICU OP doesn't like boys.
He might be onto something, folks. By the way, this comes from user rthrowaway451. And if you want to submit your own stories, go do it at the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I was able to get through all of that. And thanks to scholarships, I was able to go to college as well. My parents grumbled. But I have a passion for a field that happens to be very high paying, and my mom wasn't subtle about pushing me to get an MRS degree. Things came to a head when 3 things happened all at once. I got a terrific job offer from a major company in my field. It required me to move to another state, but they'd pay me to finish my degree. I took the offer immediately, which gave me the independence to do the 2 other things. I came out as somebody who likes the ladies.
Called it, dude. My door is like 100%.
My parents went back and forth between refusing to believe me and insisting that it was wrong and brought shame upon our family. I converted to another religion. At the time, I was getting serious with a woman of a different faith than the one I'd been raised in, and while I didn't convert purely because of her, she was a factor. My parents did not approve, to say the least. In short, the resulting series of fights led to my parents declaring that if I took this job and continued on my course of being sapphic and converting to another religion, they would disown me. I let them disown me and completely cut contact with everyone in my family except my little sister. She was still living at home with my parents, and we'd always gotten along very well. So I quietly kept in contact with her. I haven't seen or spoken a word to my parents or anyone in my family except my little sister in 7 years. I'm still working for that same company, now in a higher level position that gives me a very comfortable standard of living. I'm also now married to a woman, not the one I'd been dating when I cut contact with my family, but of the same religion and faith, which is important to us both. I have a lovely little girl, my wife's from a previous hetero-spicy related marriage, and through IVF, I'm now pregnant myself. Congratulations. Our wedding was a small, private thing, mostly with my wife's family and some friends. No one from my family was present. Now we get into the present day. A few days ago, my sister was in a car accident. It was a drunk driver, and she's not at fault. But I was able to step in and cover her medical bills, since her job doesn't pay enough for how badly she was hurt. Oh no, I was on the phone with my sister talking about possibly coming to visit, and we were talking about whether my daughter should come with me when I suddenly heard my mom's voice yell, "Daughter?" My mom was apparently visiting my sister and grabbed the phone away from her. She started screaming at me about how could I have a daughter? Why did I not tell her I was getting married? How could I steal her grandchildren from her? Etc., etc. Eventually I snapped, told her I have a daughter, you do not have a granddaughter, and hung up. Fair. Predictably, my social media and phone have been blowing up with my parents and relatives who think they have a right to my life and my daughter and child or children I'm pregnant with after they disowned me for pursuing a life of my own, being attracted to the same gender, and converting to another religion, aka just living your truth. And you know what? Maybe in a world where the mom who's on the phone right there doesn't say, daughter, and then goes, how dare you do all these? Goes, daughter, I love you and I miss you so much and I'm so sorry for all the things that I said and did. Then maybe the door opens.
It sounds like a cultural thing maybe too. Like OP's situation, like their family's like super traditional or like.
Yeah, family was like very much like, what do you mean you like girls? Like, what do you mean you want to get like a job in probably like a STEM field? Like, what do you mean you don't want to date guys? Like, what are we doing? And then it's like probably moving away from home because it's like you took the dream job offer that's like far away and converting religion. Like, dude, can you imagine? Like, what if, if you changed religion, how would that go?
Well, my family would probably have a hard time with it.
They'd have a lot to say.
Yeah, they would have a lot to say.
That's just the nature of the beast when it comes to stuff like that, So they have really focused in on my daughter especially, and I'm apparently the first of my parents' children to have kids, and my parents have gone nuts with our granddaughter. I've blocked everyone I can, and my wife, who's been a champ about this whole thing, already took precautions to make sure no one can do something crazy, like I've read about estranged parents pulling on this forum, trying to pick up our daughter from school without us, breaking into the house, blah, 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 blah. Problem is, my sister thinks I'm being mean. She'd like to meet my wife and her niece without hiding it from the family and thinks I can meet my family somewhere in the middle. My gut feeling says no. My family burned their bridges years ago, and I don't want my daughter exposed to people who think I'm sick, shameful, and sinful for living my life the way I've chosen, and my wife agrees.
I think your sister misses you and wants you in her kid's life. She's trying to find a way to make everyone happy, but in a real world, it's way harder than that.
It's simple to say, like, we should just, like, get together and, like, move past our differences. But when they're, like, core beliefs like this.
Yeah, and your parents going to have to do a lot more work than you are. It sounds like they're not going to be able to do that.
They want to be like, OP, do you see that we're right yet? Like, are you going to change your life the way that we want it to be yet?
Either our way or the highway. Nope, he took the highway, went to a different city.
I would say call the gut. Trust your gut. Still, from someone who's not intimately tied up in this mess, am I being unfair to my parents? Should I hear them out, or should I just keep stonewalling them? We have some comments, but before I read them, I want to give my take on that, which is like, I think without the context of that phone call where she hopped on your sister's phone, and the first time that she had basically spoken to you in, like, I think OP said 7 years or so, her response wasn't like, I miss you, like, I want to know what's going on in your life, like, what's happening, like, it was like, how dare you? And it doesn't sound like there's a openness or like a vulnerability there. It's just probably just bitterness and resentment. So I don't feel like that's a productive path forward.
My other thought is I saw this happen one time where like this kid just like went to a very different country and stayed away from her parents, and then they wanted her back into their life. The first step she took was like a video call, like a Skype. That might be a good way to kind of see if it's worth your time, kind of, dip your toe in the water, and then literally, if it doesn't work out.
Right, it's just you go back to business as usual, right? And then you can just turn it off and it's
Turn the computer off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like baby steps, and then, if you want to start something, start small steps. So, top comment from Icy Wheel, quoting, she said, she'd like to meet my wife and her niece without hiding it from the family. She can do that without any action on your part to make up with your parents. Tell her she's welcome to visit you and your family anytime she likes. Don't engage in discussion about these other people. Your sister is 6 years younger and has only heard your parents' side of what happened when she was, 12? She's plenty old enough now to understand that you've made your own decisions for your life, and she should respect them. Nice comment, and there's an update here. Let's go ahead and dig in. First, I had no idea my question would get so much interest. Second, everyone was dang near unanimous. After talking with my wife about it, I did a version of what a lot of people suggested. I sent my sister an email explaining my feelings about our family. We didn't really address the sister, we were addressing the parents.
That's what the other girl did too. She like sent a very detailed email, very formal.
Here's Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, why this is how I feel about it. I know that you don't because you weren't going through it. So here's the enlightenment. I am not completely set on staying no contact with my parents, but if there is going to be any reconciliation, they're going to have to make the first move. I am lover of women, a sapphic, a insert religion here and a insert career here, and these things are non-negotiable under any circumstances. If my parents cannot or will not accept these parts of who I am, the rest of me and my life are off limits. They disowned me. If they want me to be a part of the family again, that's completely on them to accept me for who I am. I told my sister that I'm open to meeting her, but only on my terms. I live near a big city, and I'd be happy to take her out to lunch or dinner in the city. My wife and daughter will not be present. Any discussion of where I actually live is forbidden. And if I see my parents, I'm leaving immediately. Only if I'm satisfied with the first meeting will I consider bringing my wife and daughter to another meetup. What I didn't expect was an email I got from my second brother. He was the middle child of the family and joined the military after high school. I can't say I ever knew him well, and he was on deployment when I cut contact with my family, but I got this email from him. Quote, here we go. Hey, OP, if you delete this email right away, I understand, but there's things I need to say. I know I didn't say anything to mom and dad when we were growing up or when you went on your own way in college. I should have. I guess I'm a coward. Dad respected my decision to join the Navy, but I didn't tell him a big part of why I did it. I joined the Navy in part to get away from mom and dad and everyone else. They were just as controlling to me and brother and other brother as they were to you and sister, just in a different way. I didn't see it then. I didn't think about it that way back then, but I should have. Easier to pretend I agreed and just go along, and now it's easier to make up excuses for why I can't visit home. What they're doing now scares me. I met a wonderful woman last year and we're thinking about getting married. We agreed that if we get married, we want to start a family. I see what our family is doing now to you and your daughter, and I don't want that happening to me, my wife, or my children. I need to think about them, not just about me. And while I've never cared much about religion, it's important to my girlfriend. And if we marry, I'm going to convert to make her happy. I doubt mom or dad will take it any better from me than they did from you, even though my girlfriend is religion A and you're religion B. I see now, this is how you keep a story actually anonymous. Insert career here. Religion A, religion B.
I'm in a niche filled industry in tennis balls. You know, it's like, oh, we could figure that one out.
Okay, I think I need to do what you did and cut our family out of my life. Mom and dad forced you to do it, but I think I need to do this now myself. And if you never want to see me again, I understand. I'd feel the same in your situation, but the next time I have leave, I'd like to apologize in person if you'd let me. Years too late, I know, but I'm sorry for not saying anything, and I'm sorry for not standing up to you. Love, brother.
Okay, I was scared at the beginning of this that they were using him as a weapon to get close to OP, but after this, I believe it, and honestly, probably a Zoom call just to kind of get the vibe to make sure that the parents don't have anything to do with it. I don't know how crafty the parents are, but it does sound like he's in a tight spot. I just think the parents are desperate and they want something from OP, so they may have used the sister for something. I don't know, because the sister is looking at it like the parents didn't really do anything wrong. The brother, I believe more, because he's kind of in the similar situation, the religion aspect. He thinks that the parents are toxic and needs to come out so he can actually live his life.
He's just realizing, like, if they could do this to her, it's like, what would keep them from doing this to me? Or, like, my kids or my family. Yeah, I would say, again, it's like you've already made up the decision. It's like if the parents are there, where it's like if your brother is, like, going to ambush you or whatever with your parents, leave, you know? That'll just be that. You already haven't had contact with him all this time, and he, feels guilty about not speaking up, which is kind of unfair because it's like as a kid in that dynamic with a family where it's like your parents are kind of like really, they dominate the household with their thoughts and their ideas and their beliefs, and it's like you got to fall in line or it creates problems. It's like when you learn in that environment that you can't speak up. I think it's unfair for the brother to be so hard on himself for not like doing anything or standing up and changing. It's like, it is what it is.
That's just how it was growing up, and you were stuck.
It shows that he's a sweetie pie, though, I think. But let's go ahead and get into the story. We've got more here. I was able to meet my brother today, and I think he's being sincere. He is horrified by how our family has been treating me because I have a child, now that he's looking at getting married and having kids of his own. We were sitting together at the restaurant when he sent an email to the family announcing that he is severing, followed by him blocking everyone. My sister just told me she would think about it, and I haven't heard another word since. Thanks, everyone, for the kind words and for encouraging me to stick with my gut. And we have another update. I believe this is a handful of months later, or maybe 1 month later. Grandparents forcing visitation rights.
You got grandparent rights.
Let's read about it. I'm in Florida. My parents are in Texas.
This is in the United States. Okay, everything makes sense now. The religion is Christianity, and that one brother is definitely converting to Mormonism.
Really? I mean, who knows? It could be literally anything.
These are all guesses. I'm just like guessing.
Yeah, I think the brother became Zoroastrian and the sister became a follower of the Baha'i faith. Baha'i is actually one of the newest religions on earth. It's basically like a mixture of like all the things. It's like melting pot religion and it's pretty chill. Here's the situation. 7 years ago, I severed all contact with my parents. They disowned me because of my preference for women when it comes to the boudoir and conversion to another religion. I have since moved to Florida and married. I have a young stepdaughter, my wife's, from a previous marriage, whom I am very close to. 2 weeks ago, I was accidentally put into contact with my parents again, and my parents learned that I have a daughter. I've maintained my complete silence with my family except for one sister I'd been in discreet contact with, and a brother who has decided to sever with our family over seeing how they're treating me and my daughter. This morning, my sister informed me that my parents are seeking legal options for the court to force them to have access to my daughter via grandparents' rights. My sister, and therefore my parents, do not know my daughter is not biologically mine, and therefore not related to them. My wife and I are in a very stable middle-class situation and are working on having another child. As such, and because my parents are out of state and disowned me because of my way of life, I'm pretty sure this is a bluff. But I thought I'd ask here, do I have anything I need to worry about legally?
So since in the United States, grandparents' rights are a thing, that is interesting.
It's state by state though, right? There's a federal law level. Here's what I'd say. Start documenting. If you're worried, document their sort of, habits, their behaviors in terms of like how they speak about you guys, which will be hard because you guys don't have any contact. So you're going to have to lean on, I guess, your sister to like get some, maybe like testimonies of like that they're home. I think I would gather evidence that it's like these people are not people that it would be even like safe, would make any sense to bring around my daughter because like she hates that we are and would maybe like steal my kid or like hate crime us. Like, who knows?
I found something. There's no U.S. law for like legal rights for that. But for Florida, it says grandparents do not have an automatic right to visit their grandchildren. They must petition the court for visitation rights if they meet certain criteria.
So I think outside of the state of Florida, they're out of the jurisdiction. What are they going to do? Again, you'd have to get the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, and they have to go to court, and a judge is going to be like, wait, this kid's not related to you?
Exactly. And by the way, the Texas Rangers are honorable. So they would not do this. They would not support this. Let's get into these comments. Maybe they might have some legally illuminating advice. So your parents are wishing to assert grandparents' rights over a child that is not biologically their grandchild. I don't see how they could be so confused as to think they have any rights to a non-biological step-grandchild. If you adopt this child, then they might take a step closer to a legitimate claim. However, in the same way that if I stand on the bottom rung of a ladder, then I will be one step closer to the moon. OP replies, they know that she's not their biological grandchild, as far as I know. She's technically my stepdaughter, but I don't call her that, and she doesn't call me her stepmother. She was only 2 when I married her biological mother, so to her, I'm short mom, to contrast my wife, who's tall mom. That's great. And there's a final update here in the comments. Let's get into it. Update for those who are curious. My sister says my parents talked it over with a family friend who works in law, and the friend pretty much laughed them out of the room. And that is the end of that story. So you know what, OP? I think you have no need to reconnect with these people. They're like trying to strong arm you foolishly. They got laughed out of the room. Yeah, you don't need none of that. And you know what else is crazy is that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and there you will have almost 1,300 hours worth of stories to listen to. My family is trying to shame me into giving them money after years of alienation.
Shame!
Ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding. Shame. Shout out my Game of Thrones heads who will understand that reference. Trigger warning, pretty abruptly, miscarriage will be mentioned in this story, so if you can't hear that, don't listen to this. I've always been kind of the GOAT with my family, and by that, I don't mean greatest of all time.
Okay.
I mean my family kind of always looked down on me
Okay.
and held me to unreasonable expectations,
Okay.
which makes you the GOAT, kind of, in the greatest of all time sense.
I guess so.
I think it's because, other than my dad, I was the only male in the house. By the way, this comes from user Stan Burgerman. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
That's great.
So, I didn't get any special consideration for being the youngest, not that I'd want any. And anyway, that was rendered irrelevant once my youngest sister was born. She was sort of the golden child throughout our childhoods, but my oldest sister also had a special place of pride for being the oldest kid. I was the middle kid, and even though I'm male, I got hand-me-downs from my sister as long as the clothes weren't too effeminate.
Oh no. That's not good.
Never fun.
Not fun.
Never fun. As an adult, I can see how that's practical and money-saving, but as a child, it was embarrassing and also hurtful to see your sisters constantly get new clothes and new bikes while I had to wear girls' clothes and ride hand-me-down girl bikes.
Oh
See,
no.
Now, John's laughing because that's just objectively funny.
Oh God.
But you know what is not funny is
What?
how tough that and funny it will make you when you get older,
That's true.
right?
Yeah, look at him.
Look at him go.
Look at all of us. Look at how we became this
Oh.
mess.
I'm a only child.
Okay.
What
Even
do you mean?
better.
Well, I didn't get hand-me-downs from my sister. Did you get hand-me-ups from Kiona? Wait, what? Because John has an older sister.
Younger.
Oh, well, never mind. That everything is out the door now. Everything's out the window, folks. It's the end of the day. It's all out the window. Where is it? It's out the window. There it is. The window's open. You could just hear it.
It's open.
I think that window's flirting with me, dude. Ooh. Okay. God, okay. Interestingly, my younger sister never had to wear hand-me-downs from my older sister. Seems like she should have been the first candidate for those. My mom and sisters pretty much had an easy life while my dad was alive because they just rode him all day long and henpecked him until he passed away 15 years ago from a heart attack. He was only 58.
Oh my goodness.
Low-key implying that they are why he had a heart attack is wild. Growing up, sometimes my dad tried to do special guy things with me, but my mom shamed him into stopping it. I just don't get it why my mom was always so cynical and negative towards me. My hair was always too long or ugly, I was too skinny, and then when I started working out in high school, suddenly I was too muscular, then I was too tan, then too pale, and my grades weren't good enough. Then once I got into a good school for college, it wasn't even that good. When I earned my degree in business, I was a wannabe businessman fast food employee.
Oh. What?
What is it that causes this? I mean, clearly, if we're just playing like Occam's razor, it's because he's the boy. It's because he's a boy and all of his other siblings are girls, and the mom's picking on the boy, giving all the boy the hand-me-down older sister clothes because she just wants a girl?
He ruined her perfect vision of having 3 little girls. He
Yeah,
ruined
it's
it.
like-
He ruined the vision.
Folks, if you are not ready for either or, don't you dare go get pregnant and then be upset that your child doesn't exist in the right box you wanted them to.
Well, hey, this is
absurd.
OP's fault.
This is all over
Maybe
fault.
maybe if he didn't
When
have
you
that,
say it like that,
maybe if he didn't have that wiener hanging down there, none of this would be happening.
maybe you should have thought about that before you were born a dude.
Come on, just
You
go
Filth.
yeah,
You
and just pull it back in. Just there you go. Do that.
I'm scared. When I got into graduate school for a master's, it was because it was a stupid idea. Not like I asked anyone to help me pay for it. Why do you dress like that? You look dumb. Why don't you own a house? Your car's old. No one will respect you. You know how that goes. Have we stopped listening to her, though? That's my big question. Are we still being like, yeah, like, all right.
I hope, but it's hard.
I'm too pale. I'm too.
It's hard being inundated. Like
It's true. I mean, I
childhood.
feel like everyone goes through this to some extent at some point. But it's like at some point you just go, oh, like you have the realization, you're like, oh, I don't care actually. Oh, I hear you. Not listening though.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I'm my own person.
Not letting that one get absorbed into my brain sponge.
Yep.
I worked and earned my own pocket money starting at age 15 with a job at a fast food restaurant. So that's why they all picked on me for working fast food. Can't think of a dumber thing than to pick on a teenager for having a fast food job. Like, you know.
You work in fast food as a teenager. Look at
Oh
you,
my God.
stupid.
What are you doing? Working at the job basically designed for you to work at? What are you?
You got
Dumb
me.
and stupid?
You got me.
Eventually, I became assistant manager of the restaurant at age 21 when I was almost done with college. My sister would often mock me for working in fast food, and my mom would too. It wasn't gentle ribbing or teasing in a loving way. No. It was spiteful insults, trying to hurt my feelings and make me feel small. Speaking of feeling small, I'm really tall. I'm 6'5".
Dude.
And they also made fun of me for never trying out or being good at basketball or caring about any other sports. Ugh. This is where I go back and I'm like, oh, sorry. Oh, did you guys sign up for the beauty pageant? Oh, wait, you're gross.
Got him.
And they go, I can't believe you'd say that. I'd be like, yeah, oh my God, insults are annoying, huh? Can you maybe stop doing them to me? ICU hidden affair baby.
Ooh,
From
your
your
poison,
poison
tonic.
tonic.
That's a great conspiracy theory.
Makes a little more eyes. Makes a little more sense than just he's a guy and I hate you. When my dad passed away, he left everything to my mom, which is to be expected, including the house. He left me and each of my siblings $10,000 just as some extra money, on the assumption that my mom would leave the kids everything equally upon her own passing many years later. I already knew back then that my mom wouldn't leave me much, if anything, compared to my sisters. My sisters continued to live at home, but once I graduated college, I moved across town to my own apartment. They weren't sad to see me go. I've been living on my own ever since, and it's been going on almost 20 years now. I grew up in a rather large house. This was Kansas, where it was possible for a normal dude like my father to own a big home. So when my sisters got married, their husbands moved in too. Is that also Kansas? We're not in Kansas anymore? That's insane. Family husbands? That's insane. We're all going to live in the same house with all our husbands.
They got married and moved in together. The sisters.
They all live in the family house with their husbands.
Interesting. Okay.
That's one way to say it. So, their husbands are both college-educated guys, but I could tell they enjoyed the idea of not having to pay for their own house or any rent. My dad had built a small guest house behind the home, which he always told me would be mine when I grew up. But after he passed away, I could tell my mom had the place earmarked for her daughter and future son-in-law. My older sister and husband stayed in my former room in the big house. Well, whatever, right? I had my own thing going on. These days, I'm regional manager of a mid-sized restaurant chain. Not fast food, but close. And although I'm not rich, I live quite comfortably. And also, buddy, even if it was fast food, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Seriously. You've done the thing.
Yeah. I had a pretty wealthy friend growing up. You know what their family did? Well, they franchised a bunch of fast food restaurants. And they were rolling in it.
There you go.
The money, not the restaurants.
Hopefully not.
They kept the restaurants very clean.
That's good. That's good. Even if they rolled, they'd still be clean.
I could afford to put a down payment on a house, but I like the easy freedom of having an apartment. At 30, I married my longtime girlfriend, who my mother and sisters always hated because she was Jewish and also 8 years older than me. They would say, your girlfriend is too old. She will never have a baby. Well, none of them came to my wedding, even though they were invited. We actually conceived a baby, but it was, god damn. Damn! That got too real. I had to reset.
Okay, we're going to reset.
Shit.
Here we go. You got it. I believe in you.
Okay. But we lost the pregnancy. My mom and sisters found out about it, and rather than I'm about to crash out on this story, dude.
Here we go.
They better not.
Here we
They
go.
better not, dude.
Here
I
we
will
go.
find you. And rather than express any condolences for a woman who just lost a child, my mom and sisters treated me to unsolicited I told you so's and didn't send my wife as much as a card. I love my wife. And since we don't have kids, we have French bulldogs. We live in a big bungalow apartment with a yard for them, so whatever. My family mocks me for that too. Like I'm not a man because I don't have kids. Buddy, I think you should stop thinking of these people as your family. Like you don't even have to think that. These are just creatures that slithered out of a tide pool, snuck into a house that you lived in. It's not like I accuse my sister's husbands of not being men because they live in their mother-in-law's house. Everyone does their own thing. My wife's family is somewhat successful in the furniture business, and they're a lot nicer to me than my own family. My mother and father-in-law offered to buy me a new car. I drive a 2000 Honda Accord, which is still in mint condition. Just this year, but I said no thanks. And they seemed to be impressed that I didn't accept gifts. Well, after all that background, finally, let's get to my point. It seems my sisters and their husbands have had all sorts of business schemes and tried to open their own yoga studio because I guess my sisters are into that stuff.
Okay.
Sort of a whole, gee, I like coming to yoga class, So naturally, I understand business economics and should open my own yoga studio. There is no way these people have the gall to reach out to you for business advice, right?
I think it's going to be worse than business advice. I think it's going to be the other thing that businesses need.
I've remembered the title
Yup.
of the story.
I see you.
Personally, I thought that the kind of boutique, expensive yoga studio that they had in mind was more of a Manhattan or Beverly Hills thing, not a small town thing, but whatever. It's none of my business. Literally. They never asked my advice, so I never said anything. Plus, my sister's husbands both fancy themselves as business savvy. One of them sells insurance, the other works as a new accounts person at a bank. So it's not like my counsel was ever needed. Of course, they failed, and spectacularly so. And my mom foolishly put her house up as collateral for the business?
Oh.
Yo, they're not okay. Let's go. Woo, 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 woo.
What's that, chat? That's karma.
Yeah, baby.
Coming back around.
Yeah. You were morally bankrupt, now you're financially bankrupt. Let's go.
That is true.
I'll admit that in a petty way, I felt a bit of
Say it. Say it.
Say it right now.
schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude?
But overall, I was upset, especially because both of my sisters have small children. There are 9 people living in my old house now. Now the bank is threatening to take over their house if they don't come up with a certain sum of money. It's a lot of money, but money that I happen to have. And they know it. They all approached me with appeals by phone, message, text. They've always known where I live, but have never once tried to come visit me. They all told me how I should be a good brother and son, and how this is what my father would have wanted, and all that. Neither of my sister's husbands have said a word to me about it, and I doubt I'll see 1 penny of my money back if I loaned it to them. My mom especially has been laying it on thick about how she's an old woman and will be cast out of her familial home and all that. I hope you do what I think you're going to do.
Please. Please.
Buy their house out from under them. Buy the house. You go, yeah. You go, I'll help you. Don't worry, I'll handle the whole thing. Buy the house that the bank is about to foreclose on and then kick them out. Thank you. She's even gone so far as to hint that my rich Jewish wife's family can pony up the dough.
Anti-Semitism
Feels
coming back,
super
baby.
weird. It's very weird. I haven't yet returned any of their calls or texts. I'm still thinking about how they always have a big Christmas party every year and never invite me or my wife. Partly because they don't like me and partly because they don't like that my wife is Jewish. But you know what you do like and what I like?
What's that?
I like that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on Apple Podcasts, any place where you can listen to podcasts. All you got to do is search OK Storytime, and there you have it. All of it. The kit, the caboodle, the howdy doodle, my noodle.
What I would like to see this man do is take all of the comments that they've made over the years and sew them together in a consistent response back to them. Let me give you some examples, right? So they're like, hey, we need some money. We need to get out of foreclosure and get this house and everything. It's like, well, I'm too dumb and stupid because a wannabe businessman fast food worker could never scrounge up the pennies to pinch together to ever dream of affording to help me because I'm so stupid and dumb and can't do anything right.
Yeah.
And I'm so incapable. Get
to the point where you're like, what's a bank?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm too dumb to know how money works.
I could never imagine getting on my princess tricycle and riding over to the bank with my pink streamers flying in the wind. To take my 2 nickels that I've saved to manage in my Bratz t-shirt that exposes my belly button to hand my 2 nickels to the bank clerk and say I want to buy this house for my family. I could never imagine doing that.
2 nickels for my familial home.
Dude.
I made them working fast food.
Right?
Would you like to insult me? I'm stupid.
Love to Eat says you should make them a scrapbook of all of their own messages.
Oh my
and
God.
all of that, yeah, like all of them I need is a reply to like their questions. That is what I need. I need them to understand.
Yeah. I know that if I confronted them about it, they would just say, "You're family. You don't need to be invited. Just show up." But I know dang well they don't want me there. My wife says it's up to me whether I want to help or not, but she also says that there is power in mercy. I don't know, though. I think she's bigger than me in that way. I'm looking for some outside perspectives on what to do here. Thanks for any advice, Reddit. And there are some comments. And like also on a very real level, you say you have the money for a down payment on the house. Like I would try to figure out how to buy this house from the bank. 100%. 100%.
I think honestly, just freaking leave him to flounder.
Yeah, of course. No, buy the house from the bank. Don't let them back in it.
Yeah.
Well, because they even said, like, their dad was like, "Oh, I built this house in the back literally for you," right? So you'd always have a place.
That's true.
And then they immediately disregarded you for that. It's like, this is low key. Like, you had a place to belong in this house, and they squandered their chance to live in the house.
Yeah.
So now you can just go ahead and buy it from the bank.
I think if OP wants it and it's like, oh, this is a good deal because it's being foreclosed on, I say yes. Otherwise, because he wasn't thinking about it before. He wasn't like, oh, like I guess they would have to sell. Like they wouldn't. Have
Oh,
sold
it would just
before,
feel so good for me personally. It's probably not the angel move. It's not the Buddha Nirvana move for sure. But I think given the 20 years of history and context, I would not be able to resist. If I had the means to buy the home out from under them, I would 100% do it. And I'd let them know it was me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd let them know it was me.
It would be a little bit just devilishly sweet. I can't deny it. I can't deny it.
Yeah,
But
because it's
I'd
what do you
probably
do?
be
It's
like-
not like you're hurting your family. These people aren't your family. They ostracized you. They expelled you.
Yeah.
They exiled you.
Yeah.
Cruelly, painfully. They tried to hurt you as often as possible. You don't
This is
need
true.
mercy. Ignore their pleas for money.
Yes.
They have no use for you except as a means to continue the life they've always led without you. Your wife is a good-hearted person, but all you would get would be insults and then more begging.
Mhm.
Reply, "Oh God, yes, please follow this advice. Please, 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 please do not give them a single cent. They cannot even pretend to be kind or respectful when asking you for tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your rich Jewish wife's family? They mock you even when begging you to bail them out.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, they are ugly, 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 undeserving people." Comment number 2. Ask yourself, if I was in trouble, would they help me? If the answer is no, then you know what to do. And that's the end of that story. That was perfect.
Wow.
Ask yourself, would they do that for me? No.
Yes. As in that they wouldn't do that.
Right. Yes.
Yes, they would not. So heed that comment and be like, you know what? Why would I ever do something that not only would they not do for me, they would probably be like, oh, stupid little dumb burger boy has been flipping his burgers all day long, going to business school like a freaking idiot.
They would literally like use your money to get their house back, and they'd be like, check out the house that Burger Boy built. We're not paying back a cent. Stupid idiot gave us this money.
Burger Boy.
And we still have the house.
Oh.
We have a picture with his face on it. We all spit on it at the end of the day.
God.
It's tradition in our house.
Oh, why would I not be surprised if that's actually what they were doing?
Come on, man. I just want him to buy that house, man. Because it's the real G move. Well, I can't spoil that movie, so I'm not going to say that reference. But yeah, it's the most satisfying.
I honestly, the more I think about it, I'm like, I just want to be as far. I think we need to like just cut him out.
Yeah.
And then just like
again.
But they're gonna be so much more annoying and so much harder to cut out if you buy the house.
Beep, boop. Restraining order, police. These strange people keep showing up to my private property.
Hopefully, but then that's just getting them to the point of where they harass me enough to be able to get a restraining order. Like I don't even want to.
Well,
I don't even want to go through that.
OP has been like no harassment for 20 years. Nothing but like slights and insults and ignoring. So,
I mean,
hey, now you're going to get some attention. Now you're going to get, your family's going to be begging for your attention once you buy their house out from under them.
Oh, I freaking pray he did not give them a single freaking cent. I
Not
don't
a
think he
dollar.
did.
I don't think he did either.
That's my prediction.
Yeah.
That's all we got.